This is Orson Welles speaking from London. Here in the grim stone structure in the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse of souvenirs. A warehouse where everyday objects, a hammer, a suitcase, a shirt button, all are touched by murder. You take this canvas bag.
This canvas bag might give us a lead, sir.
What's that writing on it, Sergeant?
It's the name of a local merchant, J. Gregory, Northampton.
Well, today, that canvas bag can be seen in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum.
Well, here we are in the Black Museum, Scotland Yard's Museum of Murder. Yes, here lies death. All the ways and means of death. Guns, of course, abound in plenty, but there are other simpler objects, things that were never meant for murder. Now, this gold trophy. A famous sportsman climaxed a great career by winning this. Later, it was an exhibit in his trial. It was proved he had used it to batter a man to death. Here's a knitting needle, perhaps used to knit for absent friends, for children not yet born. Then it was put to more lethal use, to end a life. Here we are. Here's the canvas bag. It was once a bag used to hold provisions in a Northampton grocery store. Later on, it became more famous, but we anticipate. Let's begin the story not with the canvas bag, but with a certain young woman who at her home in Birmingham was packing her suitcases.
Here's another dress, Mary.
Oh, thanks, Mother.
And your slippers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that must be all.
Let's just have another look round. You don't want to forget anything.
No, that's right.
Oh, here you are, just as well I looked. Some stockings.
Oh. Well, I think that's all.
Yes.
I'll just lock my suitcase.
Mary?
What, Mother?
You sure you'll be all right?
Oh, of course.
Well, it seems such a strange arrangement, you going all the way to London alone.
But what's strange about it? Tom's working in London, saving for our passages to Canada. He can't come to fetch me.
To travel all that way alone. Oh, Mary, let me come with you.
No, Mother. I'm not a child.
You're an almost married woman, but that doesn't mean your mother still can't worry about you.
Mother, really? Look, I'll be perfectly all right. Tom and I are getting married when I reach London. A month later, we'll be on our way to Canada.
And we'll lose you. It's so sad. You'll write as soon as you reach London, won't you, darling?
Yes, of course I will. And don't worry, please. I'll be all right.
A girl leaving home to get married, an anxious mother. Nothing very new about that, except that the girl never went to London. The following day, her train arrived in Northampton, where she was tenderly greeted by a charming man some years older than herself.
Hello. Hello. Here I am, Mary. My dear Mary.
Oh, darling. I've been waiting here for a moment. I thought you...
What, that I might have deserted you? Hardly, my sweet. Did you have much trouble with your family?
Yes, a little. Dad was anxious, and you know what Mother is. She worries terribly.
Yes. You told them the story about meeting Tom in London.
Uh-huh. And they believed it.
Oh, good.
Oh, darling, it's wonderful to be with you.
Come, Mary. I found lodgings in St. John's Street.
Oh, good.
But listen, since you've told your parents you were meeting Tom Reynolds in London, we might as well continue the deception, eh?
How?
Well, to the landlady, you'll be Mrs. Reynolds. And I, of course, shall be Mr. Reynolds. It might be better if you called me Tom.
The landlady found Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds a charming couple, so devoted, so very much in love.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Mr. Reynolds. I wrote to you about a room.
Oh, yes, Mr. Reynolds. I was expecting you today, just like you said in the letter.
And this is my wife, Mary.
Pleased to meet you, Mrs. Reynolds. I expect you'd like to see the room right away.
Yes, I would.
Well, if you'll just follow me, there's only one flight of stairs.
Let me carry the bag, dear. It's too heavy for you.
All right.
Have you any idea how long you'll be staying, Mr. Reynolds?
Well, I can't tell you at the moment. It depends on circumstances, doesn't it, sweetheart?
Yes, dear.
Why, it's Mr. Reynolds. I didn't know it was so late.
Well, my wife's asleep, Mrs. Marsh. I thought I'd just pop in to tell you that we're leaving next week.
Leaving?
Uh-huh.
Well, isn't that rather unexpected? I was talking to Mrs. Reynolds only yesterday, and she said
Yes,
that
but you see, I've had some news from friends of mine in Canada.
In Canada?
Yes, we're going to Canada, Mrs. March.
Oh.
We're leaving from Liverpool next week.
Oh, that will be nice for you, Mr. Reynolds, and for your sweet wife, too.
Yes. Oh, but there is one other thing.
Huh?
I'd be very glad if you wouldn't say anything of this to my wife. You see, she's not quite sure that she really wants to go to Canada, and, well, I think it'll only upset her if anyone talks to her about it.
Of course. I wouldn't breathe a word, particularly since you've asked me not to.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Marsh. We'll be giving up our room on Friday. I'll arrange for a car to call for the luggage early in the day.
So considerate, the landlady thought. Such a gentleman. On Friday morning, she said goodbye to the couple with reluctance. At least she said goodbye to Mr. Reynolds, who explained that his wife had gone ahead to the railway station. But even the nicest of lodgers are only a passing memory in a landlady's mind, and she might never have thought of the young couple again if it hadn't been for the events that occurred some weeks afterwards. On the high road from Rugby to Northampton, two men were walking home after work.
Well, Bat, what do you think of the team's chances on Saturday?
They'll want to be better than last week, eh, Sam?
Yeah, I should say so. Hey, look down there in the ditch beside the road. What do you see?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it looks like a canvas bag.
Well, there's something inside it. Well, what's that all over it? Lime, isn't it?
Oh, probably a dead dog. Come on, I'll buy you a pint.
Yeah. Hey, ain't no dead dog. Bert, look, will you? An arm. I can see it plain.
Oh, crikey. Come on, Sam.
Aye.
This is for the police.
Yeah.
The local police recovered the body and Scotland Yard was summoned. Inspector Courtney, accompanied by Detective Sergeant Finlay, arrived in Northampton. They met the doctor who had conducted the post-mortem.
The body was that of a woman, Inspector.
Have you any idea of her age, Doctor?
Youngish. I'd say in her 20s. In height, a little over 5 feet. Slight build.
And in what state was the body?
Dismembered and partially decomposed.
And the cause of death? Have you any idea about that?
There's no way of telling, Inspector. The only thing you can take for granted is that she was murdered.
The yard men had a dual task there. They had to track down the murderer, but first and foremost, they had to find out who had been murdered. They set out to examine the evidence.
This canvas bag might give us a lead, sir.
Yes. Now, what's that writing on it, Sergeant?
It's the name of a local merchant, J. Gregory, Northampton.
Yes, the name's clear enough. Luckily, the lime didn't rot it away.
As I'd say it was meant to, sir.
Yes, I'd say so too, Sergeant. I think we'll call on Mr. Gregory.
Was this a lucky break early in a difficult case? It seemed not. For when the London detectives interviewed J. Gregory in his Northampton warehouse, the merchant could give them little help.
Yes, it's my bag, all right, Inspector. No mistaking that, but how did it get in there?
Well, we thought you might be able to tell us that.
Well, I assure you I can't. These canvas bags are used for transporting groceries between this warehouse and my several shops in the town.
And they're, handled by your employees?
Yes.
Are they ever given out to the public?
Oh, no, they're not.
Were you aware that one was missing?
Well, well, hardly, Inspector. I have upwards of 100 of these bags and a lot more to do than count them.
Yes, of course, yes. But now, you understand the gravity of this situation.
Yes.
A woman has been found dead. Murdered.
Murdered?
Her body wrapped in one of your bags.
Inspector, I can only assure you I know nothing whatever about it.
At this stage, Mr. Gregory, not knowing the identity of the murdered woman, the bag is our only clue. Now, you do appreciate that?
Yes, yes, of course.
Sir, that I'd like to talk to one of your employees who might have handled these bags and who might have been in the position to take one or even give one to somebody else.
Inspector, I'll see to it my staff are available for you.
Thanks.
As a matter of fact, you can begin with my warehouse manager, my own brother.
Oh, yes, thank you, yes.
Wait, I'll get him. George?
Huh?
George, come here, will you?
Presently, the obliging Mr. Gregory returned with his brother, the warehouse manager. He, too, was courteous and polite to the detectives, and only too ready to answer the questions they asked him.
Now, where do you live, Mr. Gregory?
In Birmingham. 7 High Street, Birmingham.
And are you married?
Yes. Wife and 2 children.
And you live at home?
Well, sometimes I stay here at the warehouse. You know, because of the distance involved in travel, you understand?
Oh, yes, perfectly. Now, tell me, have you ever lent or given anyone outside the firm one of these canvas bags?
Well, I don't like to mention it, but...
Well, go on, George. Tell the inspector whatever he wants to know. Did you give away one of these bags?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I did, John. I know it was against regulations, but... Well, a tramp came in one day asking for some scraps of food, and...
Yes, and...
Well, I felt sorry for him. You know how it is.
Yes, quite.
I gave him a couple of tins and, well, a canvas bag to carry them in. Sorry, John, but that was the only occasion I have given one away.
Now, could you tell me, how long ago would this have been?
Oh, well, I suppose about 6 weeks, perhaps a bit longer. I'm afraid I can't remember the exact date.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Gregory. I don't suppose you can help us in this matter of the murdered woman. I mean, you've no idea who it might be.
Well, none whatsoever, Inspector. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. Good day to you. Good day.
The inspector left the warehouse deeply disappointed. It seems that the trail led nowhere. For the inspector believed this story of the tramp that George Gregory had told him. There's no reason why he should not have believed it. But today, evidence that proved the lie can be seen in the Black Museum. There are hundreds of women reported missing every year throughout England. Now to the local police stations throughout the land, the messages went out in a long and slow search to find the identity of the murdered woman.
Desire information on any woman reported missing within past 2 months. Special attention to young woman about 5 feet in height, of slight build, well-dressed.
In answer to your inquiry, we've checked all missing persons approximating to the description given in the Glasgow area during the last 2 months. There are 3 missing persons whose descriptions might fit the one given, and further investigation is being made in each case. I shall report further within the next 7 days.
Hello, sir. This is Scotland Yard. We've been looking into your inquiry, And we find that in the London area there are 27 cases of missing persons. That would seem to justify investigation in relation to your inquiry. From preliminary inquiries, 13 of these cases can already be discounted. On the remainder, further inquiries are still being made. We'll be in touch with you later, sir. Goodbye.
The reports came flooding into Scotland Yard. The leads faithfully followed. Dead ends, all of them. The investigation into murder was bogged down because nobody knew who had been murdered.
Here's another one, Inspector. People by the name of Wilson in Birmingham. Worried about their daughter.
Oh, I never knew there were so many youngsters who run away from home. Well, still, have it checked, Sergeant.
Right, sir.
Another patient inquiry begins. When did your daughter leave home? Where was she going? Have you heard from her? The questions were asked, the answers were written down, and the result was sent to Scotland Yard.
Wilson, yes. Number 9 High Street, Birmingham. Left for London to marry a young man named Tom Reynolds.
Seems like she didn't get there, sir.
Yeah. Family had a letter from Reynolds, just a sort of friendly note, no mention of the girl.
I understand young Reynolds went to Canada, sir. He was once engaged to the girl, but they broke it off.
Oh, yes?
The next thing, when he was in London, the girl had a letter from him asking her to marry him and go out to Canada.
Yes, but did the family see the letter?
No. It was all pretty hurried. They were upset, but she seemed to be able to get her own way.
Oh, I've heard this kind of thing before. Now, I wonder who the man was.
Not Tom Reynolds, that's certain. His letter to the family is enclosed there, sir.
Oh, well, let's see it, will you? Yes, wait a minute. Now, rough crossing, how is everyone? Miss my old neighbors. No, he doesn't mention her. Now, what was her name?
Mary, sir.
Mary Wilson, 9 High Street, Birmingham. Sergeant, that seems familiar.
To me, too, sir. I can't quite place it,
Wait a minute, I've got it.
What, Inspector?
George Gregory, that warehouse manager. His address is 7 High Street, Birmingham.
Number 7? Well, that means he lives next door.
Patience had paid off again. Careful and painstaking methods had given them a new lead, or rather, the renewal of an old lead. For the canvas bag had first led them to the Gregory warehouse. The detectives went back to Northampton, back to interview George Gregory.
Mary Wilson, Inspector? Well, of course I knew Mary Wilson.
Now, tell me, when did you last see her, Mr. Gregory?
Oh, some time ago. She went to Canada, you know. She married a young chap named Reynolds.
Yes, but did she marry him?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, she did.
You said, I knew Mary Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Why the past tense?
I don't know. Well, don't you always use the past tense when you're not likely to see a person again?
Oh, you don't think you'll see her again?
Well, Inspector, with her married and living in Canada, that'd hardly be likely, Inspector.
George Gregory seemed at ease. His answers rang true. It could be nothing but a strange coincidence. Inspector Courtney gave certain instructions.
I want a cable sent to Tom Reynolds in Canada. Find out if he married Mary Wilson or not. The odds are he's still single.
Then Courtney went to Birmingham, to number 9 High Street, where he talked to Mary's mother.
I don't want to alarm you, Mrs. Wilson, but I'm from Scotland Yard and I want to make certain inquiries.
Scotland Yard? Oh, my Mary's done nothing wrong, has she?
Of course not, no. Now, tell me, Mrs. Wilson, do you really think your daughter might have gone to Canada with her young man?
Oh, I don't know what to think, sir. I was always puzzled. I mean the way she seemed to patch things up with Tom.
Yes, did you question that?
No, I didn't say much. I was glad, really.
About her marrying the young man?
Yes. Well, you see, for a while I was worried there was another man she seemed to like, but too much, if you know what I mean.
Oh, you disapproved?
Oh, Mary was never one to take criticism, but I didn't like it, I can tell you.
Was the other man older?
He was, old enough to know better. Him with a wife and 2 children of his own. I tell you, I was relieved when I thought Mary was going away to marry Tom Reynolds.
Now, there's one more question I must ask you, ma'am.
Yes, Inspector?
The name of this attentive gentleman.
Well, I don't like to make anything of it, mind.
No, but I'd like to know his name.
Well, he happens to live next door, and his name is George Gregory.
We've had a reply to your Canada cable, sir.
Okay, Sergeant, go ahead and read it.
Tom Reynolds is living in Ottawa. He's a bachelor. Last time he saw Mary Wilson was in Birmingham 3 months ago.
What about his letter from London?
There was no letter from London.
It was beginning to add up. Point by point, link by link, a chain of circumstantial evidence was being forged by the patient police.
I think he's our man, Sergeant.
And imagine it, sir. He's been here under our noses since the very first clue you picked up.
Yes, the canvas bag led us right to him, but we haven't tied it up yet.
What's the next move, sir?
Mary Wilson left for London to meet Reynolds.
Or so it seems she told her parents.
Yes, it seems more than likely, sir, that they came here. So they must have lived somewhere, she and the man she met.
Now the detectives went through the town, front streets and back streets, fashionable hotels and cheap boarding houses. They went wherever there was a sign, rooms to let.
Well?
We're from Scotland Yard, ma'am. We're inquiring about a young couple who might have stayed here some 6 weeks to 2 months ago.
No, not here. Only take regulars. Had all my boarders for the past 12 months.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry to have troubled you.
They ran the whole gamut of landladies. The suspicious landladies, the mean, the garrulous landladies, the kind, the generous, the curious. Then in a lodging house in St. John's Street, their work paid off.
A young couple? Yes, I've had a few. What was their name?
We're not sure what name they might have been using.
Oh, you mean Crooks? Well, let me see. Oh, it couldn't have been that nice young couple, Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds. Now,
What was that name?
Reynolds.
Tom Reynolds?
Yes, I believe it was. Such a nice man. Oh, and his young wife was named Mary. She was awfully sweet.
Mrs. Marsh, can you give me a description of Mary Reynolds?
Why, yes, I think so. Short, about 5 feet tall, brown hair, rather pretty.
Yes.
Not much help, I'm afraid. I can't remember any other details.
Oh, you helped a lot, thanks. And the man?
Tall, dark hair, and a small mole on his left cheek, older than her. Oh, but he was very nice indeed. Oh, surely they couldn't have done anything wrong.
Mrs. Marsh, can you, I want to attend the police station tomorrow morning at 10?
Me? Why, sir?
Well, we'll be having an identification parade at 10 sharp.
All right, quiet, everyone. I've got together a group of 8 people, Inspector.
Thank you, Sergeant. Mrs. Marsh, I want you to try and identify the man you knew as Tom Reynolds.
All right, Inspector, but really, I know he and his wife went to Canada.
Nevertheless, if you don't mind, just walk slowly down the line and examine each man.
8 men. A couple of detectives, 2 men taken out of the cells, 1 recruited off the street, and in the middle of them, a protesting, indignant George Gregory.
It's not this man. Nor this. No, not him either. Why, Mr. Reynolds!
Gregory, grab him, man!
I got
There were enough policemen present to overpower the hastily departing Mr. Gregory, who was immediately arrested on a charge of having murdered Mary Wilson. Today, the evidence that brought about his downfall, the canvas bag that first directed police attention to him, occupies a place of honor in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment.
George Gregory killed the woman, he said, because she was too much in love with him to let him go, but he couldn't afford the scandal that might arise if he continued his association with her. Not a very nice reason, but then, the reason for murder seldom are. Anyway, George Gregory was tried and convicted and paid for his crime one morning at 8 o'clock. And now, until we meet next time in this same place for another story about the Black Museum, I remain, as always, obediently yours. This is Orson Welles, speaking from London. From the Black Museum, a museum of death. Yes, here in the grim stone structure on the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse of homicide. A warehouse where everyday objects, a paperweight, a broken wine bottle, a shaded lamp, all are touched by murder. You take this jacket, woolen, hand-knitted, a baby's garment, dusty with age, and only half completed.
Sleeves are missing, Inspector, and it still has to be stitched up.
Yes. Looks rather pathetic, doesn't it, Sergeant?
It does, sir. Yes.
Better put it back in the attaché case. Probably be needing it before long.
Today, that jacket, sleeveless and unstitched, can be seen in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum.
Well, here we are in the Black Museum, Scotland Yard's Museum of Murder. Here lies death, dressed in its Sunday best. Here, for example, is a nail file. It was once used by a manicurist to trim the dainty fingernails of a beautiful woman, later used by an insane killer. Here's a length of cord, weighted with lead at either end, harmless enough to look at, but lethal in its effect as a weapon of murder. Ah, here we are. Here's the jacket, mottled and dusty, somewhat inconspicuous in its place on the shelf, a tragic relic of passion and violence. I'm going to take you back quite a few years to a warm Sunday morning in June of the year 1921. We're outside a small chapel in the London suburb of Kensal Rise. The service is not long ended, and the congregation files slowly from within out into the brilliant sunshine. A young girl emerges, waves to a few friends gathered near the entrance, and turns along the dusty yellow road in the direction of the township. She's gone but half a block when she hears an unfamiliar voice calling after her.
Miss! Miss!
She turns and finds herself face to face with a man she has never seen before. A stocky, broad-shouldered young man with a round face and black, penetrating eyes.
I beg your pardon, miss, but I think you dropped this.
Oh, my hymn book.
It is yours, then?
Oh, yes.
I wasn't quite sure.
Thank you ever so much.
Oh, that's all right.
I don't know what I'd have done if I'd lost it. Mother'd never forgiven me. She gave it to me for my 12th birthday. I've had it ever since.
Well, in that case, it's a good thing I happen to be looking your way.
It certainly is, yes. Well, I must be off. Thank you again.
You're going towards the village?
Yes. I live on the other side of the rise.
I'm going that way myself. Perhaps you wouldn't mind my walking with you.
Not at all. It's funny. I thought I knew most of the folks about these parts, but I don't ever remember seeing you before.
Oh, that's not surprising. I'm a newcomer to Kensal Rise. I've only been here a few days, as a matter of fact.
That explains it.
Yes, I've been transferred to the bank here.
Oh. Do you expect to be staying long?
No longer than I can help. I'm trying to save enough money to buy a chicken farm.
A chicken farm?
Well, it probably strikes you as being a queer ambition for a fellow to have, but I've always wanted one ever since I was a youngster. I've even got a small piece of land picked out. Half an acre at Crowborough in Sussex.
Crowborough? I've a friend who lives there.
On the land?
Yes, it's a wonderful spot. I stayed there for a week once. I loved every minute of it.
Oh, then you probably know more about the place than I do. I've only just passed through it. That's when I saw the land for sale.
How long ago was that?
Oh, about 6 or 7 months.
What if it's been sold in the meantime?
No, that's hardly likely. You see, I spoke to the agent. He told me it had already been up for sale 2 years and looked like staying that way for the next 10.
Oh, I see.
I only hope he knew what he was talking about.
The two walked on in silence for several moments. Then suddenly the young man laughed.
I say, I've been walking along telling you my inmost secrets, and I haven't even introduced myself.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Well, the name's Moon. Trevor Moon.
And mine's Evelyn Rose. But everyone calls me Evie.
And that's how it all began. A romance destined to flower with all the beauty of young love, only to wither and die a tragic death. But let us not anticipate. Let us follow the course of that romance, or rather, let us pick out the more pertinent of its developments. After their first meeting, Trevor Moon and Evie Rose spent most of their time in each other's company. For 12 months, they were rarely seen apart. And then, one evening, while strolling in the moonlight, Moon asked Evie to marry him.
I haven't much to offer you, darling, and, well, apart from what I've put aside from the farm, I've no money, but if there is such a thing as love, I've really fallen victim to it.
Oh, Trevor. Darling. You're sure it's what you want?
My dearest Evie, if it wasn't, I wouldn't have asked you.
No, I don't suppose you would. It's just that...
Just that what?
Well, I wasn't expecting it. You took me unawares.
Well, to be quite truthful, darling, I took myself unawares, too. Well, you haven't given me your answer yet. Now, to be or not to be, that is the question.
Oh, silly. Of course I'll marry you. Just as soon as you want me to.
But Moon was in no hurry. On the contrary, he was the type who could not be hustled. And a further 12 months passed, during which time he remained as devoted as ever, but appeared singularly reluctant to take the proverbial plunge. Evie, on the other hand, became more impatient as the days went by, and when informed by her suitor that he had at last saved enough money to leave the bank and purchase his precious chicken farm in Sussex, her emotions gave vent to words.
Oh, Trevor, but I'm so tired of all this waiting. How much longer must we go on like this?
Just a few months, darling, till I get the farm straightened out and ready for business.
But why can't we be married right away? Then I could help you straighten things out.
You can help me most, darling, by being just a little more patient. The moment I get things in order down at Crowborough, I'll send for you. That's a promise.
So Evie had to consent to go on waiting. 2 weeks later, matters having been settled, Moon bid his sweetheart a fond farewell and left for Sussex. A month passed, and no word from him. Evie had done her best to be patient, as he had asked, but this was too much. Packing a bag, she took a train for Crowborough, and upon reaching her destination, checked in at the local inn, where she made inquiries as to the location of the Moon property. Within the hour, she was knocking at the door of a small shack on the outskirts of the village.
Evie!
Trevor, darling, please don't be angry with me, but I had to see you.
How did you get here?
by train. I had to come, darling. If I'd waited another day, I'd have gone out of my mind. It's been...
You can't stay here, you realize that.
Well, I thought I'd stay at the hotel.
No.
Trevor, please.
You're catching the next train back home.
But, darling...
I'll walk with you to the station.
No, Trevor. No, I'm not going.
You're not going?
I'm staying in Crowborough till we're married.
I see. And if I happen to decide against going through with it?
I'm afraid you haven't any alternative, Trevor.
Why?
You see, I'm going to have a child. Your child.
Well, you'd better stay.
The scene changes. It is 3 months later. We're in the office of the Crowborough police station. Constables Harris and Vernon are playing checkers.
Oh, didn't see that one coming.
Been playing for that all along.
Puts me in a bit of a spot.
Hey, does that all right, right enough. I'll get it. No fancy moves while my back's turned, neither.
As if I were.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Crowborough Police Station. Constable Harris speaking. What's that? Yes. Yes. Hold it a tick while I get my notebook and take down a few particulars. Now, what name was it again? Rose. Mrs. Lena Rose. Yes. And the missing girl? Daughter. Evelyn, known as Evie. Address? 14 Marsden Parade, Kensal Rise. Yes. And how long has your daughter been gone, Mrs. Rose? Since Saturday morning, I see. Yes. Well, let you do with the present, Mrs. Rose. You'll be hearing from us. Yeah, that's right, yes. Good night, ma'am.
Trouble?
Oh, nothing that won't keep. Another missing girl, that's all.
But Constable Harris was in error. It was not simply a case of another missing girl who disappeared for a few days. It was a case of a missing girl who disappeared for good. Today, evidence of that fact can be seen here in the Black Museum. Just another missing girl. Yes, that's how the reported disappearance of Evie Rose was first described. Nothing particularly unusual about such a report. Almost every day of the week, someone or other vanishes without any apparent reason or cause, to show up again in due course with a perfectly simple explanation for the supposedly mysterious absence. But of course, there's always the exception, which is why the police waste as little time as possible in checking up on such matters. So it was that the following day, Mrs. Lena Rose received a visit from Sergeant Cross of the Crowborough Police Station.
Now then, Mrs. Rose, let's get the facts straight, shall we? According to this report, your daughter left home early on Saturday morning.
That's right, Sergeant, 2 days ago. She told me she was going down to Crowborough for the day.
Crowborough?
Yes, to visit her fiancé. He has a chicken farm there. Not a very big one, I understand. He only bought it a few months ago, but he's doing very well.
You've been in touch with them, I take it?
Oh, yes. He said he was expecting Evie for lunch on Saturday, but she didn't arrive.
Was she in the habit of visiting him often?
No. Several weeks ago, she went down to see how he was getting along, and that was the only time.
She returned the same day?
Just in time for tea. I come to think of it, it was just about that time that she changed so.
Changed?
Yes. She used to be such a happy sort of girl, you know, always laughing and joking, and then suddenly she became moody, sullen, as though something was worrying her, something she couldn't speak of. even to me.
You've no idea what it could have been, I suppose?
Well, perhaps I shouldn't tell you this, but I had a feeling it was something to do with Trevor.
Trevor?
Trevor Moon, her fiancé.
Oh. What kind of something, Mrs. Rose?
Well, that's what had me puzzled. I just can't imagine. Trevor was such a nice boy and so fond of Evie. I'm quite sure he wouldn't have done or said anything to hurt her. Well, not intentionally, that is.
How long have they been keeping company?
Oh, about 2.5 years.
As long as that, eh? And when were they to be married?
Well, I'm not sure, Sergeant. As far as I know, they haven't actually set a date.
I see. Well, I think I might pop down to Crowborough and have a chat with Mr. Moon. He may be able to tell me something. Thanks for your help, Mrs. Rose. And don't worry. We'll find your daughter. You'll probably be hearing from me again in a day or two.
With an encouraging smile, Sergeant Cross took his leave of the anxious mother and set out for the railway station, a thoughtful expression clouding his wrinkled brow. That same expression was still present when he stepped from the train onto the platform at Crowborough and headed along the lonely lane that led to the Moon Chicken Farm. The gate was open, and seeing no one about, he made his way up to the front door of the shack and knocked.
Yes?
Mr. Moon?
That's right.
I'm Sergeant Cross. I wonder if you could spare a few moments of your time.
By all means, Sergeant. Come right in. The place is in a bit of a mess, I'm afraid.
That's all right.
Well, sit down, won't you?
Thanks. I suppose you know why I'm here.
Well, I've a fair idea. It's about Evie Rose, isn't it?
Yes.
Still no sign of her?
I'm afraid not.
Ah.
There are just a few questions I'd like to ask you, Mr. Moon. Routine, you understand, nothing more.
Of course.
I've just come from Kensal Rise. I've been talking to Mrs. Rose, who gave me fuller details.
I suppose she's almost out of her mind with worry.
Well, under the circumstances, I think she's taken it very well. I understand that you and the missing girl are engaged to be married.
That's so.
And that she was on her way down here to visit you when she disappeared.
Yes, I was at the station to meet her, but she wasn't on the train.
Well, what train was that?
The 11 o'clock. I waited an hour for the next one, but she wasn't on that either, so I came back home.
Were you worried at all?
No, not unduly. I just assumed she'd changed her mind about coming.
You didn't think it odd that you hadn't heard from her?
No, I can't say I did.
How long is it since you last saw her?
Oh, roughly speaking, about 2 months.
That was when she last visited you?
Yes. She only came here once.
I see. How did she seem then?
How did you mean?
Well, did she seem depressed or worried about anything?
Oh, not that I can recall. No. Why?
Oh, no particular reason.
Not for 1 second during the interrogation did Sergeant Cross shift his gaze from Moon's face. He had never trusted black eyes, and he wasn't quite sure he liked the look of this young fellow. But, despite this, the inscrutable Mr. Moon gave no indication that he knew any more about the missing Evie Rose than he was ready to admit, and certainly did not appear to have anything to hide. To the contrary, in fact. Back at the Crowborough police station later that same day, Cross admitted as much to his superior, Divisional Inspector Broughton.
So you think he's told all he knows, eh, Sergeant?
Well, sir, let's just say that he gave me that impression. It was those black eyes of his that set me thinking. They've got a shifty look about them.
You can hardly hold the color of a man's eyes against him, Sergeant.
Oh, perhaps not, sir, but even so,
I think the best thing we can do at this stage is to give the newspapers a photograph of the missing girl and a description of the clothes she was wearing on the day of her disappearance.
Just as you say, sir. I'll attend to it right away.
Thus it was that a photograph of Evie Rose, together with her description, found its way onto the front page of 3 London newspapers.
Well, sir, that should do the trick.
Yes, let's hope so, Sergeant.
2 weeks passed, during which time no information regarding the missing girl was forthcoming. Yet a 3rd week went by, and still there was no trace of Evie Rose.
Well, Sergeant, looks as if we'd drawn a blank.
It does rather, sir. What's to do now? That's the question.
Yes, I think I might pay your friend Mr. Moon a visit.
I doubt if you'll get much more from him than I got.
Possibly not. No harm in trying.
To this day, Inspector Broughton could not say exactly why he so suddenly decided to pay Moon a call. Perhaps it was the prompting of fate, or perhaps he acted simply on a blind impulse. Whatever it was, he wasted no time about it. And that same afternoon, he made his way out to the Moon farm, found Moon seated on the narrow veranda, thoughtfully puffing at a much-smoked pipe.
Hello there.
If you're another of those damn fool reporters, you can go to...
No. I'm not a reporter.
Well, that's a relief anyway. They've been showing up here in a steady stream for the past 3 weeks.
Oh, is that a fact?
Yes. You know, I'm convinced they really believe I murdered that girl, that Evie Rose.
Oh?
Ah, prying fools that they are. The way they ask questions, you'd think I was on trial.
Well, perhaps you are.
What?
I mean, perhaps they think you know more than you're telling.
Now, why should they think that?
Well, she was supposed to be on her way to visit you when she disappeared.
Well, it doesn't mean I murdered her.
No.
I mean, anyone could have done it.
Done what?
Murdered her.
Who said she was murdered?
Why, no one. Not in so many words, but that's what they're inferring.
Who?
Those wretched reporters.
You sure you're not imagining it?
Of course I'm not imagining it. Why should I imagine it?
Well, why should you indeed?
You're sure you're not a reporter?
Quite sure.
Who are you, then?
Well, matter of fact, I'm a detective.
Detective?
Inspector Broughton's the name.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you stopped by, Inspector. What brought you here?
Oh, I just wanted to have a look about the place.
Why?
Curiosity.
I suppose you wanted to question me, too.
Well, frankly, I did want to, but I don't want to anymore. I think you've given me all the answers I need.
With a nod, the inspector turned and walked back down the path. He didn't look back, but he could feel Moon's eyes staring after him. The eyes that had told him so much, so convincingly. It was just like that. Almost like the sort of stuff one reads in a cheap detective fiction magazine. Well, this was cheap. But it wasn't fiction. It was life. Life in its birthday suit.
That was quick, Inspector. How'd you make out?
He's a killer, Sergeant.
Moon?
Yes, I'm sure of that as I am of the fact that we'll see the end of the Evie Rose case tonight.
You think he killed her?
Well, if he didn't, I'm going to be out of a job in the very near future.
But,
because I'm banking everything on the hunch that he did, my reputation included. And don't ask me why. If I told you, you'd say I was mad. We're wasting valuable time. Come on, get a squad together. We got work to do.
Work?
We're off back to Moon's place, and we're going to search every inch of it. If we don't find anything inside the house, we start in the grounds. And even if we dig all night, Sergeant, we're going to keep on digging till we strike oil.
So, less than an hour later, Inspector Broughton was back at the chicken farm, and with him were Sergeant Cross and 4 constables. The shack was searched from top to bottom, and finding nothing on the inside, they started on the outside, with picks and shovels and everything they could lay their hands on. Broughton was risking his career on an intangible impulse, and he knew it. But somehow he didn't think it was much of a risk.
There's nothing so far, Inspector.
Yeah, we got a lot of ground to cover yet, old chap.
I hope you're not making a mistake, sir.
So do I. But if I am, you won't suffer for it. I can promise you that.
I wasn't thinking of myself.
Don't worry about me. My shoulders are broad enough.
The digging continued. When it was too dark to see, lanterns were lit. 4 hours slipped by, and even Broughton was ready to throw in the towel when, shortly after 1 p.m.
Inspector.
What is it, Sergeant?
Just look what Hanson has dug up.
A attaché case.
Get an eyeful of the initials on it.
E.R.
Seems as if your hunch might have been right after all.
Yeah, come on, open it up. Maybe something in it.
Right. Well, doesn't feel like it. Hello? What's this?
Looks like a jacket of some sort.
A baby's jacket.
That's what it is, all right.
Only half completed. See? Sleeves are missing, and it still has to be stitched up.
Yes. Looks rather pathetic, doesn't it, Sergeant?
It does, sir, yes.
Yes. Better put it back in the attaché case. Probably be needing it before long.
With the discovery of the attaché case, the search was renewed with an added vigor, and stray articles of clothing were brought to light, one by one. Clothes identical to those worn by the missing girl on the day of her disappearance. A green scarf, a yellow jumper, a brown skirt. patent leather shoes, and a brown beret.
Doesn't leave much to the imagination, Inspector.
No, not much. But we still have to find a body.
Yes, they still had to find a body. But they felt it couldn't be far away. And they were right. Except that it wasn't a body, but rather a scattering of bits and pieces that once had been a body. Confronted with the evidence, Trevor Moon made no attempt to deny the charge of murder that was subsequently leveled at him. He seemed, in fact, somewhat relieved to relate his gruesome story of how he had sent for Evie Rose and, knowing that she was soon to bear his child, strangled her, later dismembering her body and burying it, together with her clothing and the attaché case, the contents of which today occupies its place in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment.
Moon's defense, if it could be called a defense, was a great letdown to the hundreds who kicked and shoved their way into the Old Bailey to witness his trial. For Mr. Moon pleaded guilty. There wasn't much more to it than that. Oh, yes, he had an excuse. Plenty of excuses. There are no excuses for murder. The jury's verdict was never in doubt. Trevor Moon was found guilty of murder in the first degree, and 2 months later to the day, he was hanged. So there you have it. And now until we meet next time in the same place, and I tell you another story about the Black Museum, I remain, as always, obediently yours. Speaking from London. Here in the grim stone structure on the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse of souvenirs, where everyday objects, a broom, a vase, a lampshade, all are touched by murder. Now, this tan shoe, it's a brogue, good leather, expensive make, but the dark stain near the heel wasn't put there by the manufacturer.
A tan shoe, sir. Left foot. What do you make of this stain?
It looks to me like blood.
Today, that shoe can be seen in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum.
Here we are in the Black Museum, Scotland Yard's Museum of Murder. Here lies death, violent, unexpected death. Here in the objects that line the shelves and fill the room are the stories of murder. Here's a birthday card to Margaret with love. A present went with the card, of course. The present was death. This glass, a man was drinking from it when he died, most unnaturally. The glass fell from his hands. The murderer jumped forward instinctively to catch it. He caught it and left a fingerprint that sent him to the gallows. Here we are. Here's the tan shoe. A left foot shoe. The darkish stain near the heel, inside and out, couldn't be disguised with polish. But there was no stain on it that morning of May the 20th, 1930, when the two men, one wearing this particular shoe, walked along the platform at Newcastle Station. It was a few minutes before train time as they made their way along the platform.
I tell you, John, my firm regard me most highly.
I'm sure they do, my dear chap.
It's not that I care to boast, but their attitude speaks for itself.
In what way?
Well, as you know, they allow me to travel with the colliery wages each Friday. From the bank in Newcastle to our office at Almouth.
Yes, a very responsible task. Come, my friend, admit the truth.
What truth, John?
Well, they really don't allow you to travel unescorted with so much money in that black leather bag.
Oh, yes, they do.
But there's no guard cunningly posted someone else on the train to watch you?
None whatsoever. You see, they place great trust in me.
They do indeed.
Mark my words, I'm in line for a colliery managership one day.
And you deserve it, my dear chap.
Yes, it'd be a fine reward for 20 years' work. Oh, morning, Collins.
Oh, good morning, Bennett.
Fine chap. He's a clerk with a neighbouring colliery. Now, come on, John, I think this is our carriage.
Oh, it seems to be empty.
Splendid. We can have a good talk during the hour journey to Almouth. Now, come on, sit down and make yourself at home.
And with these few words, the friends smilingly took their places in the empty railway carriage. It was quite a change for Mr. Bennett to have someone to talk to on his usually lonely courier service. More often than not, he was alone with his small black bag, for it was not his habit to trust strangers when carrying a large sum of money. But this chap seemed a decent sort.
And, John, you simply must come home to dinner and meet the wife.
Oh, that would be very nice, old chap.
That's good. Well, shall we say Friday night?
Delighted.
Yes, a very decent sort. Bennett didn't take easily to people, but this chap seemed to be his kind. He'd only met him in Newcastle a week ago, but he'd warmed to him at once, and in a way did with few people. And so the train sped along the northeastern line. Heaton, Stannington, Morpeth. Small station stops along the line. At Morpeth, the train took up water. Few people got out to stretch their legs. Some passed through the barrier and gave up their tickets. Among them was a man in a gray overcoat.
Tickets, please. Tickets, please.
There you are.
Oh, say, your tickets for Almouth.
Oh, yes, I've changed my mind. I'm getting off here, thank you.
Reach you, say. Tickets, please.
4 minutes later, the train left Morpeth and went on its way to Almouth. There the passengers alighted. The journey was over. A porter then proceeded to clean the train, as was usual. But in one of the empty carriages, he made a gruesome discovery.
Hey, what's this? Blood on the floor?
A stream of blood running from under the seat. He bent down to look and found the carriage not so empty as he'd imagined.
Help! Please! Somebody's been murdered!
Somebody had indeed been murdered, and the next logical step, after the local police had been hurriedly brought to the scene of the crime, was to send for Scotland Yard.
Inspector Morton, sir, from Scotland Yard.
Oh, Inspector, come in. Glad to renew your acquaintance.
How are you, sir?
Thank you, Sergeant. That'll be all.
Yes, sir.
Sit down. Well, in answer to your question, I'm worried. Deuced worried.
About the murder, sir?
Yes. They all come to the chief constable of the county.
Who?
The railways, telling me that no one will travel by train unless the killer's caught.
I see their point.
Yeah, but that's only one of them. And then there's the colliery, insisting that we find the murderer of their employee and the man's wife, of course.
Yes, I know. Well, you can hand all that sort of thing over to me now.
And I can't say I'm sorry.
First of all, sir, would you supply me with some preliminary facts? How much do you know about the murdered man?
The chief constable explained it all to the London detective. The dead man's name was Wallace Bennett, a meek and faithful little man. For the past 20 years, he'd worked with a leading colliery in the district. For the past 5 years, he'd been their paymaster, traveling with his cash bag to pay the miners' wages each week in Almouth.
Well, there it is, Inspector. He took the train as usual this Friday, but he arrived at Alnmouth dead.
And the bag in which he carried this money, sir?
It was missing.
The inspector wanted to find out first about that missing bag. Most of all, how much money it contained. He went to the colliery manager.
Now, sir, I'd like to have your help in connection with the murder of Bennett.
Well, anything I can do to help, you can count on me.
Well, first, I'd like to find out how much the bag he was carrying with him contained.
Well, the person who can answer that question is Miss Robertson in our accounts department.
Well, Miss Robertson, I expect you have a record of the amount that Mr. Bennett drew from the bank on the morning of his death.
Oh, yes, Inspector. I have a note of it here. The amount is exactly £400, 8 shillings and 4pence.
And how was the money made up?
In various denominations, Inspector. You see, it was required for paying the men at the colliery, but the greater part in pound notes. And, Inspector, I thought that you'd be making inquiries, so I was in touch with the bank this morning.
Yes?
The money was paid out in used notes, and the bank has no trace of the numbers.
Oh, bad luck. Well, thank you, Miss Robertson. You've saved me a disappointment and a wasted visit.
Now there were other things, and other people to see. Among them, the doctor.
Yes, Inspector. I was called in by the local police when the body was discovered.
And what did you determine as the cause of death, Doctor?
There were 4 bullets in the body, one of which entered the left lung and one the heart.
Yes?
The other 2 were lodged in the brain.
Our killer took no chances.
None at all. The skull was also fractured by a heavy blow, such as might be made by the butt of a revolver.
I see. Oh, thank you, Doctor.
The motive was clear enough. Robbery. Somewhere was a bag and £400. And there also was a murderer. But where? Who was it? Morton found it hard those first few days. Hard because there were no leads. There was a body, a missing cash bag, and 4 bullets. That was all. The bullets were duly tested and traced.
Nickel-cap bullets, sir. Unusual style. 5 from a .32 revolver.
Any hope of tracing that gun, Morton?
Well, we're working on it now, sir. The train was thoroughly searched. No sign of the gun, but I'm having a very thorough search made along the railway track to see if we can uncover anything there.
Good.
I should think it likely that the killer might have thrown the gun out of the window.
Well, let me know as soon as you've anything to report, won't you?
Inspector Morton. What's that? You found a gun. All right, send it along as quickly as possible and we'll have it examined by the experts.
Yes, sir. It's the murder weapon, all right. I've compared it with the bullets, and they were fired from this same revolver.
I suppose there's no means of identification on the revolver. Number removed and all the usual precautions?
Oh, no, sir. The number can be distinguished. What's more, I've made inquiries, and we've traced the owner.
Good. Sounds a little too simple, though. Where is the owner?
Well, he's a foreign gentleman, sir, living here in Newcastle. They're getting hold of him now.
Now, Mr. Rossini, I want you to identify this revolver. According to the gun license, it's one that belongs to you.
Let me see. Yes, that's my revolver, all right. Oh, I can't tell you how grateful I am to you, Inspector, for getting it back. Oh, my wife will be pleased. I never expected to see it again.
You mean it was stolen?
Yes, over 3 months ago. I must phone my wife and tell her it's back. Oh, she was so upset, poor Annunziata. You see, my house was burgled, and this was missing, among other things. I reported it to the local police.
I see. Just one other question, Mr. Rossini. Can you give me some indication of your movements during the last 7 days?
Oh, that's very simple, Inspector. I only arrived home this morning on a business trip from the continent. You see, I've been in Paris for the last fortnight, but please don't let my wife know that. If you want any witnesses, that's very easy. I've been working in the Paris office of my company all the time. Don't be suspicious of me, you know.
All right, Mr. Rossini. Just as a matter of routine, we'll check your statement, but I don't think we'll need to see you again.
Dead ends. Wherever they looked, dead ends. With the inquest pending, it looked as if a verdict of murder by a person or persons unknown would be certain. And yet that was not to be. A twist of fate, a new chance witness was to revive the investigation, set it back on the trail which led to the murderer and the bloodstained shoe, that same tan shoe, which can be seen today in the Black Museum. The witness came in on the third day, the morning after the funeral. He was a short, dark-haired man whose name was Collins. He asked to see the inspector in charge of the case.
Come in here, Mr. Collins. We can talk without interruption.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
Now, what was it you wished to see me about?
Well, about Bennett, sir, about his murder.
Yes?
I met him on Newcastle Station that morning before he boarded the train.
You saw him then? Was he carrying his cash bag?
Yes, he was. I've seen Bennett travel down to Alnmouth every Friday for years, but this morning I particularly noticed him because...
Why?
Because he usually traveled alone.
Wasn't he alone last Friday?
No, he had someone with him. They were walking along the station together. I saw them get into the same compartment.
Now, for the first time, Bennett's train companion entered the case. Inspector Morton wanted to know more, a lot more. Was the man a friend of Bennett's? Did he, Collins, know him?
No, I didn't know the man, Inspector. He was a stranger to me.
Then it's unlikely he'd be a close friend of Bennett.
I think so. Of course, his wife, widow, would be the one to tell you about that.
I'll check with her. Now, Mr. Collins, you've been very helpful, but can you help a little more?
Yes, how, Inspector?
Can you give me a description of this man?
Well, I noticed he was shortish, about my height. That's 5'7".
Yes. Anything else?
He was fair, small moustache.
Good. And his clothes?
He was wearing a grey overcoat, a grey soft felt hat, and a dark grey suit. At least, I could see his dark grey trousers, a red tie, I think. Oh yes, and tan brogue shoes.
You're very observant, Mr. Collins. Did you by any chance notice when he left the train?
Yes, at Morpeth.
You're sure of that?
Certain. I got out to stretch my legs when the train took up water there. I saw him go through the barrier and give up his ticket.
Out of the blue, a witness and a lead at last. It happens that way. A person remembers some incident, some unusual detail, and the trail begins.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes?
I'm from the police. I'm sorry to trouble you at a time like this, but Inspector Morton, I'd like you to answer a few questions.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Mrs. Bennett. Now, your husband left home at the usual time on that particular morning?
Yes.
Carrying the black bag containing the money?
Yes. I was always worried about that bag.
Yeah. Do you recall on this particular morning whether your husband was planning to meet a friend or anybody in particular?
Well, if he was, he never mentioned it to me. He always traveled by himself, as far as I know.
Ah. Well, amongst your husband's acquaintances, is there any man you can recollect, shortish, 5'7", fair hair, small moustache?
No. No, I can't think of anybody like that. He definitely wasn't a close friend of my husband's, of that I'm sure.
Inspector Morton hurried to Morpeth and interviewed the ticket collector.
A man in a grey overcoat. Last Friday, you said, sir?
Yes, a short, fair man, dark grey suit, a small moustache. Do you remember him?
Funny, I do remember. He had a ticket to Alnmouth.
But he gave it up here?
Yes, he said he'd changed his mind or something.
Did you notice if he was carrying a small black bag?
I couldn't say what it was, sir. He had it inside his coat, covered up. It looked bulky.
Inside his coat? Thank you. Thank you very much.
A casual question had brought an encouraging, unexpected answer. The man who had left the train at Morpeth was concealing something bulky beneath his overcoat. The black cash bag was missing, and this man had traveled in the same train, according to a witness, in the very same compartment. All they had to do now was find him. The thought was not too comforting. Find one man who might be anywhere in England, one man who had left almost no trace behind him. And then fate, strange, incredible fate intervened. Or was it fate? Perhaps it was stupidity or the unconscious urge to brag that lies hidden in every murderer. Anyway, it happened that same week at a hotel bar in London.
Come on, have another, George.
No, thanks, matey. I've got to be going.
Come on, I'll pay.
But you've already paid for 3.
What's that matter? I've got money. Look.
Blimey.
£1 notes, hundreds of them. I tell you, I'm rich. Come on, have another.
2 men drinking in a bar, 2 casual acquaintances. It might never have happened, but it did happen. And when one of them, his mind filled with misgivings and doubts, went to the police the next morning, Scotland Yard was speedily informed.
Now, let's hear the story. Your name's Blakey, is it?
That's right, sir. I'm a bus driver. This fella I was drinking with, he used to work for our company once.
Do you know him well?
Well, no, hardly at all. I met him in the pub last night and he kept on buying me drinks. Then he brought out this great fistful of money.
How much money would you say?
Oh, 200 or 300 quid, I should think. Well, maybe I'm misjudging him, sir, but, well, I heard about the murder in Newcastle and the money being pinched.
You did the right thing, Blakey. Don't worry about that. What's the man's name?
Linkman. John Linkman, I think it is.
Do you know where he lives?
No, I've not the faintest idea about that. But you'll find him most nights down at the Roundhead Arms, sir, in the bar there.
The Roundhead Arms, a small pub on a London side street, a long way from the scene of the murder. But here, that same evening, went Inspector Morton.
What'll it be for you, sir?
I'll order in a minute, miss, thanks. I'm waiting for a friend.
Okay.
You might happen to know him. He's one of your regular customers, John Linkman.
Johnny Linkman? Oh, yes, I know him.
Funny thing, I came in here last Friday to have a drink with him and seemed to miss him.
Oh, that's no wonder. You should have asked me. Johnny was away. He was away about a week.
Oh, that explains it.
Yes, some business trip, he said. Must have done all right, too, because he's pretty flush now.
Nice to hear of an old friend doing so well.
There he is now, just coming in. Hello, Johnny, love.
Hello, Ruby. Find a bitter.
Better make it 2. You've got a friend waiting for you.
Oh?
Never mind the drinks, miss. John Linkman?
Yes, who are you?
Inspector Morton from Scotland Yard.
Scotland Yard?
What do you want with me?
There are 1 or 2 questions I want to ask you. Outside.
With a firm grip on his quarry's arm, Morton left the hotel bar. Outside, a car was waiting. Morton and Linkman were driven to Scotland Yard.
In here, Mr. Linkman.
My dear Inspector, you must be out of your mind. What's the meaning of this treatment?
Where were you last Friday, Mr. Linkman?
Minding my own business.
Oh, come, sir, that attitude's only wasting our time.
Oh, I was on a business trip, if you must know.
Where?
In the Newcastle district. I'm a salesman.
What firms did you deal with there? And what firm do you represent?
I'm a private trader. I saw no firms while I was there.
None?
No, my trip was a failure.
Then where did you get the very large sum of money you've been carrying with you lately?
Money? What money?
I think you know to what I'm referring. May I see the contents of your pockets?
Certainly not.
Then you'll force me to go through the formality of a search warrant.
Oh, all right. Here. A pen.
Yes.
Some silver and this.
£1 notes. At a guess, about 300 of them.
Linkman was held in custody. Meanwhile, Morton and a sergeant went to search his home.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but we have a search warrant. Shall I start on the bedroom, sir?
Yes, Sergeant.
But what has my husband done? Why are you here?
We're just making a preliminary investigation, ma'am. There's no cause for alarm yet.
They searched the bedroom, the cramped lounge room with its fading wallpaper, the bathroom, the kitchen, pursued and harassed by a distraught Mrs. Linkman. Then, in the second bedroom.
What has he done, Inspector? You've got to tell me.
I'm sorry. There's nothing I can tell you yet, Mrs. Linkman.
This is awful. Awful.
I've got something, Inspector. A tan shoe, sir. Left foot. What do you make of this stain?
It looks to me like blood. We'll take it back with us and have it tested.
In the laboratory at Scotland Yard, they found out it was blood. The bank in Newcastle identified the notes. In a police lineup, Collins identified Linkman as the man who had shared a compartment with Bennett that fatal Friday morning. And then the game was up.
Well, Mr. Linkman, have you anything to say?
This is all a ridiculous mistake. I can explain everything.
Can you explain this?
Why, yes. You must have found it in my flat. It's one of my shoes.
And can you explain this stain? Here, just by the toe cap. Somebody seems to have been trying to cover it with shoe polish, not very successfully, I'm afraid. Oh, come along, Mr. Linkman. Can you explain that?
Well, I've never noticed the stain before. It's probably some oil or something.
No, Mr. Linkman, it's not oil. I have the laboratory report here. It's a blood stain.
All right, you know everything, don't you?
Not everything, Mr. Linkman, but enough. Would you like to make a statement now?
Very well. I'm glad it's over. Glad I can tell somebody the truth at last.
Confronted with all this and the evidence of the stain on the shoe he'd vainly tried to cover up with shoe polish, Linkman confessed to his crime. And today that same shoe can be seen occupying a place in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment.
The trial was held at Newcastle with an eminent counsel retained to defend the prisoner, but inevitably the sordid details of the crime emerged. Linkman being out of a job and needing money, a chance to make the acquaintance of Wallace Bennett in Newcastle. Learning his new friend carried large sums of money by train every Friday, Linkman carefully planned his crime. But he learned, much to his eternal sorrow, that care must be preserved both before and after murder. A moment's lapse, a few drinks, and it meant the 13 steps and the rope one morning not long afterwards. As the Lord Justice said in sentencing the prisoner, the scales of justice are now balanced. And now until we meet next time in the same place and I tell you another story about the Black Museum, I remain as always, obediently yours.
This is Orson Welles, speaking from London. The Black Museum. Here, in the grim stone structure on the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse of homicide. A warehouse where everyday objects, a tallow candle, for example, a mounted cat, an andiron, all are touched by murder. A bedsheet. It's a familiar object. You see them every night, except on rare occasions when you're roughing it. Linen is the usual material. Sometimes they're made of silk. This one is linen. It bears the imprint of the steamship Bengal Tower.
May I make up your bed, Miss Parsons? Certainly, stewardess. We're on our way, aren't we?
Yes, miss. That's the last we'll see of Cape Town. I'll just change your sheets, miss.
Thank you.
Fresh ones for the first night out.
Today, that bedsheet can be seen in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum.
Well, here we are, the Black Museum. Scotland Yard's very special, very particular museum of murder. If you're a student of criminology, A student with some imagination, I don't think you'll be alone here in the Black Museum. Each small card, meant solely to identify crime and criminal, will bring to life for you a sinister ghost, and you'll walk here attended simultaneously by killer and killed. Here's a long-necked chemist's flask. It was meant to hold life-giving medicine, but somebody intervened. There was acid in this flask. A few pellets dropped in, dissolved. The flask was smoky with lethal vapor. Sleeping man died. Here's a bicycle, made for fun, but notice the wheels, the crumpled spokes, the crushed tires. A girl rode this bike downhill, and a wire was stretched across the roadway. Here we are, the sheet. A common, everyday bed sheet, stamped in one corner, SS Bengal Tower. That's a luxury liner on the route between Cape Town and Southampton. It's a nice ship and a voyage to enjoy, particularly when you're young and homeward bound. Natalie Parsons was young and homeward bound, and very lovely. The first night out, there were two gentlemen friends to dance attendance.
Thank you, Miss Parsons. Now you make even a lieutenant's life a pleasure.
Why, Lieutenant, I thought the Navy was the life for a young man with adventure in his soul.
Well, that's just the legend, but all legends come to an end. Just like the dancing tonight.
Mr. Morrow holding the fort at our table all alone. Let's be nice to him, Lieutenant. I hear he knows the captain of our ship.
The dancing was over in the main salon. The orchestra retired for the night. High above the brilliantly illuminated decks on the dim, binnacle-lighted bridge, Captain Booth had his own thoughts as he paced away his watch.
Ought to be all right. Full passenger list, decent crew, engines in good shape, ship all squared away topside and below. You never know. That's the worry and the fascination of it. You never know.
No, Captain. You never know, do you? You never know. But such thoughts are ridiculous. Look at the three people at that table near the bar in the first-class lounge this minute. The Parsons girl. Actress, the passenger list says. The naval lieutenant. What was his name? Jeff Hennessy, that's it. And Noel Morrow. Past middle age, but quite distinguished. Heavy stockholder in the line which owns your Bengal Tower. Nice people having a fine time.
And this, gentleman, concludes our performance for this evening.
Oh, but it's early yet, Miss Parsons.
Well, I'm not used to the sea air, Lieutenant. I'm tired, so I'm going to bed. And thank you both for a lovely first night at sea.
May I see you to your cabin?
Hold on, I claim that privilege. You dance with her all evening, son. Now it's my turn.
Oh, don't fight, gentlemen. Well, not the first night out, anyway. I think we'll accede to Noel's wish tonight, Jeff.
Good.
He has some basis to his claim, you know.
There you are, young fellow.
Well, I surrender. There's plenty of time to Southampton, and lots of moonlight.
Yes, plenty of time for fun and enjoyment and even playing at love as the great ship knifes through the tropic seas northward, homeward bound. So Noel Morrow walks Natalie Parsons to her cabin and returns to the bar for a nightcap with Lieutenant Jeff Hennessy.
To Natalie, a nice girl.
I'll drink to that. A fine talent, I hear.
Yes, I saw in a play in Johannesburg, Three-Cornered Moon.
Huh?
Very amusing.
That's so. Well, I never heard of it. Still, I'm glad I heard of Natalie Parsons. Nice girl.
Good looking, too.
Yes, all of that, and more. Well, here's to a pleasant voyage.
Two gentlemen converse over whiskey and soda, and then repair to their respective quarters and fall asleep. 2 a.m. 4 bells. On the bridge, the watch is changing.
First officer reporting relieving, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Forsyth. We're making 15 knots, course 348. All quite below.
Thank you, sir. I took the liberty of checking before I came topside. The watchmen are ringing their stations, sir. Stewards and stewardesses turn in, sir.
Very well, mister. Take over. Carry on.
North-northeast, roughly, is the course. The ship moves on. The captain goes to his cabin. First Officer Forsyth and the quartermaster stand to on the bridge. All quiet. Below on B deck, the watchman makes his rounds.
That's a funny one. B24 ringing for steward and stewardess both. We'll have a look.
What is it, man?
Is something wrong, sir?
Nothing's wrong, why?
Both your buzzers are ringing, sir. For your steward and stewardess both.
There must be a mistake. Everything here is fine.
The watchman is puzzled. He goes back. The buzzers have stopped. He checks the cabin list. B24. Miss Natalie Parsons. He hesitates. Back to the cabin or up to the bridge? Was it a mistake he chose the bridge?
What is it, Peter?
B24's a ladies' cabin. Single occupied, Mr. Forsyth.
Is it now?
Buzzers was ringing. I answered. A man came to the door. All I did see of him was his trouser leg and shoe. Black, both of them.
Well, strange things can happen on shipboard on a cruise like this, you know. You just go on with your rounds and fill out your report when you go off watch.
Yes, sir. Very well, sir.
In a few moments, I'll go below and check. I want to make sure. Meet me at B24 at 5 bells.
Aye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Strange things do happen on shipboard. Even without tropic seas and a voyage home, quite strange things. 5 bells. 2:30. First Officer Forsyth, with Watchman Petrie at his elbow, knocked discreetly on the door to B24.
Unlocked, is it? Careless.
So it seems, sir.
Swing your torch in here, Petrie.
Aye, sir.
Nobody here. Cabin's empty. All right, Petrie. Make your report. I'll enter this on the log. We'll let it go at that. And girls will be girls, Petrie. I trust you haven't forgotten that.
Discreet fellow, that first officer, but then he'd had plenty of cruise experience. He noted the matter in the log. After all, he had left the bridge for a few moments. And that was all. Now, it happens that one of the duties of the first officer is to call the roll at boat drill. You know how that goes. The bells clang all over the ship. The passengers joke as they reach for life belts dusty with disuse and scramble to the boat deck at the stations noted on their cabin doors. And after a bit, the first officer comes around and checks the roll.
Yes, I know. I quite agree, yeah. Answer to your names, please, ladies and gentlemen. This is a boat station for cabins B18 to B45. All passengers and crew assigned here will answer. Mr. Ainsworth?
Here.
Alan Birch?
Here, sir.
Miss Lawrence?
Here.
Mr. Leary?
Present.
Nancy Meadows?
Here, sir.
Major Norton?
Yeah.
Miss Parsons? Miss Parsons? Miss Parsons?
The first officer reported to Captain Booth. Captain Booth thought it might be courteous if Miss Parsons were under the weather to pay her a courtesy call. Captain knocked.
Empty. Strange. Stewardess? Stewardess!
Yes, sir? You wanted me, Captain?
I do. You see Miss Parsons this morning?
No, sir, I haven't. It's a little queer, rather.
How so?
Well, she wasn't at boat drill either, sir, and her night things are missing.
You laid them out last night, did you?
Yes, sir. Pretty things, too. Just right for her. But not a sign of them this morning, and stains all over the sheet.
How's that? Where?
Here, sir. Sort of red and a few black ones, sir. Streaks like.
I see. Just a moment. There are times when I'm glad first-class cabins have telephones. This is the captain speaking. I want Dr. Stout in B24 at once. Thank you.
You don't think something's happened, do you, sir? She's such a nice girl.
That's what everyone says. Funny goings-on in here last night. Watchman's report, a log. Notice anything else peculiar here this morning, stewardess?
Well, yes, sir. When I came in to straighten up. First off, I noticed the porthole, sir. Swinging open it was all by itself. I fastened it before anything, sir.
Yes, that's right.
You call for me, Captain?
Yes, Doctor. Take a look at the stains on that sheet, will you?
Right.
All right, stewardess, you can go, but stay on call.
Yes, sir, I'll be right outside.
And send in the watchman.
Yes, sir.
Well, Doctor?
These are probably lipstick.
The other red spots, they look like blood, I'm afraid. I'll tell better after I've run a test. The black marks beat me.
Not a very pleasant prospect. Blood on the sheet and an open porthole.
Watchman Petrie, Captain.
Ah, yes. Don't go, Doctor. Now, see here, Petrie. This man you reported speaking to last night. Did you see his face?
Sorry, sir, I didn't. Only his trouser and one shoe, like I told Mr. Forsyth.
I see. It's too bad. What about his voice?
It was muffled, sir, by the door. But he did have, a kind of accent, sir.
What kind? American? Welsh? Scots? Irish?
If anything, it was Scotch, sir.
All right. Dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Doctor?
I don't like the looks of it. I'd seal this cabin and notify owners if I were you.
I'll do that and more. This is the captain. Give me the bridge. Watch officer, please. Hello, Mr. Matson. Captain Booth here. I want a complete search of the ship at once for a passenger. Natalie Parsons. Crow's Nest a block hole. And, put the ship about, mister. We're going back on a sea search as well. Calculate our position at 4 bells this morning. I'll be topside directly. We're not going to find her alive, you know, Doctor. But we've got to have a look.
I know.
If this girl went through that porthole alive, the sharks have got her by now. If she went through dead, we have a murderer aboard. As I said before, not a very pleasant prospect, Doctor.
No, it didn't look so pleasant. An empty cabin, an open porthole, and blood on the sheet. And I'd remind you that that sheet today can be seen in the Black Museum. There was no sign, of course, nothing aboard ship, nothing beyond but empty, heaving sea. The Bengal Tower slowed at the position she'd sailed through the night before. She circled, while anxious eyes scanned the surface of the water. They saw nothing. Nothing but the sea. Then the captain said quietly,
Engine room? All engines ahead. Full speed.
Aye, aye, sir.
and presently the wireless room crackled with the sound of a coded message.
Master Bengal Tower to Indian Mail Steamship Company, Southampton. Advised disappearance early morning 18th, passenger Natalie Parsons, Cape Town to Southampton. Circumstances puzzling. Making all possible inquiries. Inform Southampton CID, will report further development. Signed, Booth.
Back in his quarters, Captain Booth sent for the two men last known to have seen the missing girl.
Sit down, gentlemen. May I offer you a drink?
No, thank you.
I assume you know that Miss Parsons is presumed lost at sea.
Tragic. Lovely girl. Great talent.
The ship is buzzing with it, sir. Why should a girl like that, with the whole world before her, commit suicide?
Why, indeed, Lieutenant. That's one reason I asked you here. Did either of you gentlemen notice any signs of depression about her that evening?
Why, everything seemed to indicate the exact contrary. Don't you agree, Heresy?
Absolutely. We danced almost every dance. She was as happy as anybody could be. She did get tired. Mr. Morrow took her below.
To her cabin, Mr. Morrow?
Yes, where you said good night at the door, and I rejoined the lieutenant for a nightcap.
I see. And neither of you gentlemen have anything to add, have you, gentlemen?
Neither of them did. But in Southampton, the Criminal Investigation Department did have a few items to add.
All right, Hobson. What's the report on this Parsons girl?
Well, exactly what she said she was, Inspector. Actress.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently quite well accepted in Joburg. Plenty of men at the stage door, so to speak. Age, 25. Never a touch of scandal. 2 points.
Yes?
She was in the Army Intelligence during the war. Had languages. Good actress. Quite a help.
Oh, possibly in Secret Service nowadays.
No, I called the special branch on that. Positively no. She's back in civil life completely.
Oh, well, that's a possible theory down the drain.
Yes, sir.
Well, you had 2 points, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. The other is, she said she left Joburg for a theatre job here. Well, there's no sign of it, sir. No manager in England has signed her, though some of them knew the name.
Ah, we'll keep after that. Oh, how about the passenger and crew list? Anyone familiar?
No, not a criminal record in the lot. and we've checked all 368 of them.
All right, Sergeant. Well, keep after that theatre job angle. Meanwhile, alert the technicians and the harbour police. We'll be going aboard that ship before the pilot takes her over.
The ship with a sealed cabin drew nearer to home. Somehow the festive quality of a voyage home was missing. Tension settled over the Bengal Tower, from the bridge to the boiler room. At long, long last, the anchor dropped into Southampton water. The passengers gathered to watch for the pilot boat.
That's no pilot boat, is it, Halsey?
Ah, police launch.
I expected as much.
Funny. You dance with a girl, you know her for 8, 10 hours out of your life. She stays with you.
It happens, son. She was a lovely thing. Don't fall in love with a ghost. You wind up rather lonely, you know.
Thanks. I'll remember that. Ah, quite a few of them coming aboard.
Yes, we're in for a going over, apparently.
The captain spoke to the passengers and crew over the public address system.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, representatives of the Southampton police have come aboard to proceed with the necessary inquiry into the tragic disappearance of one of our fellow passengers. Until this inquiry has run its course, it'll be necessary to lie off and not to proceed ashore. Your cooperation will be greatly appreciated, and I'm sure you realize that all which can be done is being done to place you ashore as soon as possible. Thank you.
I wish them luck. How I wish them luck.
On B-deck, Inspector Rice took over from a greatly relieved Captain Booth. No time was wasted.
Set up a lab in the ship's pharmacy and get at those stains. Compare them with the girl's lipstick and get the blood type. And find out what's in those black markings.
Yes, sir.
Now strip the bed and go through her things top to bottom. Now, I want to talk to the watchman, the stewardess. And from what you say, Captain, the man in here that night had a Scots accent.
That's correct.
Well, how many Scotsmen aboard? Have you checked that?
We have. 26, Inspector. 18 passengers, 8 in the crew.
Oh, very good, sir. You have been thorough. Now, you, I take it, are the watchmen.
They worked quickly, but they worked thoroughly. The watchman and the stewardesses reasserted their statements to the captain with one addition.
Oh, yes, sir. I cleaned the cabin thoroughly, wiped everything.
That was too bad. No chance now for fingerprints. In the improvised laboratory in the ship's pharmacy, they did better.
The lipstick stains match the lipstick in her luggage exactly, sir.
The blood type on that spotted sheet?
Type O, sir. The girl's army record gives the same type.
Meanwhile, information arrived from ashore.
She had a job waiting for her, Inspector, at the Abbey Theatre in Dublin, sir.
And then the police chemist came up with a long-awaited answer.
The black streaks on the sheet, sir. Lamp black wax and petroleum oil. That's shoe polish. But there's a trace of silver polish mixed in, sir.
Ah, now we've got something, Hobson.
Yes, sir, but what?
Well, who'd get silver polish on his boots aboard ship, Sergeant?
Well, it's a weird combination, sir.
A ship steward, Hobson. A steward with a Scots accent. Now, let's see the captain, shall we?
I'll cooperate in any way I can, Inspector. But even if it is one of my men, there's not a thing to tie any of them to the incident.
Well, sir, I have an idea. We can let the passengers ashore now, but hold the crew. Then you invite the police detail and the ship's officers to luncheon. Set up 4 tables well apart, waited on by the 4 stewards you say are Scots-born. At the end of the meal... Thank you, steward. I will have some more coffee. Now, as I was saying, gentlemen, it's practically over. That one fingerprint on the glass of the porthole will hang the man. No question about it. They always forget something, make at least one silly mistake. There'll be a ship's mechanic from our harbour police aboard any minute.
All right, young fella. You can stop polishing that porthole cover now.
What's the meaning of this? I'm doing my job.
There's no fingerprint on the glass. You fell for the inspector's plan. I'll have to take you in charge. Willful murder on suspicion. And I must warn you, anything you say may be taken down in writing.
They smoked him out all right, but he refused to give in without a struggle. It was interesting to watch his mind work as they questioned him.
You're Alan Birch.
I am.
Your first trip aboard the Bengal Tower?
Round trip. Went out in her. This is the return.
Ah, like the ladies, do you?
They seem to like me.
Ever had any trouble with one before?
No, never. What do you mean, before?
Your forearms, Birch, and your neck, all scratched.
No dame ever scratched me.
Oh, where did you get them, then?
Ship's cat. I tried to pet her. She let me have it.
It won't wash, Birch. No cat's claws ever scratched like that. Ship's doctor will certify to that. And those scratches aren't old enough to have happened ashore.
All right, then. It was a woman.
Huh?
A stewardess.
Which one?
I'm not saying. She'd lose her job.
Nonsense. Who are you protecting, Birch?
Nobody.
Stop it, Birch. You're only making it harder for yourself. You were on duty for that cabin, among others. She rang. From the watchman's story, the buzzer was stuck, but you didn't realize it until he knocked on the door and spoke to you. You went to B-24, forced your way in, attacked the girl, and when she resisted, you killed her and pushed her through that porthole. Wasn't that the way it was, Birch?
I never attacked nobody.
We say you did. There's blood on the sheet. Her blood. We'll find it on your clothes, too.
I never attacked her. We had a date. After she ditched the two jokers she was dancing and drinking with.
Be careful what you say, Birch. It's all being taken down and may be used in evidence.
I'm telling the truth. I didn't kill her. I was waiting in the cabin like she said. When she came in, she changed her mind or something. She tried to push me out. I don't take that from no woman. I grabbed her. She fell against me. She was foaming at the mouth in a sort of fit. She collapsed. I put her on the bed, tried to give her artificial respiration. That's how the black got on the sheet, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Go on, Bert.
When that fool Petrie came to the door, I lost my head. She looked dead. I didn't know what. I locked the door. I couldn't find no heartbeat. Nothing. I figured Petrie would report to the bridge. I picked her up and pushed her out of the porthole.
Why did you decide to tell this tale, Birch?
Because you'd pin it on me anyway. I know coppers. So better than have yous cook it up, you got it my way. I didn't kill nobody here. I didn't kill nobody.
Stanley Birch had told his story. Not a very good story. For there, in contradiction, was the testimony and evidence, including that blood-stained bed sheet, which you can see today in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment.
Stuart Birch was a ladies' man. There was no doubt about that after the evidence was in. The jury had little doubt either. They convicted Mr. Birch of first-degree murder, despite his protestations, and despite the fact that for the first time in 200 years, a jury had been given a homicide case without a corpus delicti. This was a major aspect of the case, a very interesting one, I think. And further, just after the conviction, the House of Commons suspended the death penalty in England. As for Stuart Birch, you'll find him spending the rest of his natural life in Dartmoor prison. And as for the spotted bed sheet, it remains in its customary place, in Scotland Yard, in the Black Museum. And now, until we meet next time, the same place, I tell you another story about the Black Museum. I remain, as always, obediently yours.
Wells, speaking from London. Black Museum. It's a repository of death. Here in the grimy stone structure on the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse of homicide, where everyday objects, a phonograph record, a postcard, a color photograph, a simple statuette, all are touched by murder. Here's 2 scribbled notes, bits of paper with 3 words scrawled across them. Slogan known around the world, a slogan you recognize. Words created in the kind of lonely fun men far from home, men at war, have enjoyed through all of history.
What's it mean, Inspector?
It would be nice to know, Sergeant. I suspect that if we did know, we'd have the answer to this nasty business.
Well, this killer, sir, it's possible he's an American. That phrase was American, sir, all through the war. Kilroy was here.
Kilroy was here. And he's still here. In the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum.
Well, here we are in the Black Museum. Scotland Yard's Museum of Murder. Here's a typewriter. Your secretary uses one. Perhaps your son or daughter write their school essays on a machine like this. This one is used to write a letter. That letter brought a woman to an address and death to the author of that letter. Here are the notes. Scrawled on lined paper such as children use, children who are just learning to write. And a photograph showing the same 3 words scratched on a wooden surface. 3 times 3 was a number in witchcraft in ancient times. 3 times 3 words were written. This wasn't witchcraft, merely murder. Began for Inspector Liggett and Sergeant Porter in the usual manner. The telephone rang in the inspector's office at the yard.
Inspector Liggett here.
Sergeant Garth, 11th District Metropolitan Police, sir. We're at the Royal Roost, sir. Private supper club, 15 Marley Court. The proprietor, Matt Bolton, has been shot and killed, Inspector.
Very well, we'll be right along. Well, so Matt Bolton has finally departed this earth, Porter.
In the expected manner?
In the expected manner.
You wouldn't know Matt Bolton. 99 chances out of 100 you never heard of him. But enough people had heard of him to net Matt Bolton a neat 6-figure income from various protective associations and entertainment enterprises, such as the Royal Roost, one of those small private supper clubs, manages to keep its license by operating just within the law. The club was easy to find. In place of a neon sign, there was a police constable at the door.
Yeah, looks like it's this way, I think.
Stuffy in here, Inspector?
It always is in these places. Apparently a good many people prefer to amuse themselves breathing a combination of tobacco and poor liquor fumes, rather than good fresh air.
Quite a costume on those girls.
Roosters in the Royal Rooster. Get it, Sergeant?
I've never seen a rooster with so little on besides tail feathers.
Neither have I. Look, we better get to work, Sergeant.
The 2 policemen crossed the nightclub, skirted the dance floor, and quietly passed through the doorway near the bandstand. To their left, another door stood open, revealing a cubicle complete with mirror lights, another girlish rooster, a man, and a body. A body full length on the floor. The girl was saying,
"Look, we simply can't send the chorus out once more. Do I get to do my act or don't I?"
I'm Inspector Liggett, Sergeant. The young lady may do her act. I doubt if she'll try to go outside the club in that costume.
Well, thank you, Inspector. First, this man said he thought the show ought to go on so the customers wouldn't be disturbed, and then he held me here. Well, look, that's my cue. I'll be back. Don't worry, I'm not going anyplace. You're so right about that, Inspector.
Knows her way around, that girl, sir. Found the body, didn't turn her hair.
So I noticed. Find the weapon, Sergeant?
No, sir, not in here.
Porter, check the exits.
Very good, sir.
Oh, we've done that, sir. Only 2, the way you came and the back door, fire exit. No one in the kitchen saw or heard anything. We haven't touched the body. Waited for you and the medical examiner, sir.
Very good. All right. Turn out his pockets, Porter.
Yes, sir. Here's something, Inspector. Tucked in his breast pocket.
Quite a touch. I take it you didn't see this, Garth?
No, sir. We left the body strictly as it was.
Odd. Almost a signature. It's a note. Kilroy was here.
For a moment, memories of other days crowded into the tiny dressing room. A phrase which had meant chuckles once seemed incongruous in that atmosphere of violent death. And then Mabel was back with boyfriend.
May I inquire who your escort is, Miss Martin?
Larry King meets Scotland Yard.
Gentlemen. How do you do? Is this your usual practice, Mr. King?
If you mean escorting Miss Martin home, that's correct.
You are good friends?
We're engaged.
I see. Miss Martin, before you leave us to get dressed, during your employment here, have you ever had any trouble with Mr. Bolton?
Do you mean, did he make advances?
Yes.
Well, naturally.
I see. Mr. King, did you know about these advances?
I did.
Did you ever have any trouble with Mr. Bolton?
Nothing to speak of?
Of course, it never is anything to speak of. You served during the recent war.
I did. 8th Army. All the way from Tobruk to northern Italy.
Does the expression Kilroy was here mean anything to you?
The Americans, 5th Army, they used it. I've seen it many times.
Very well. Leave your addresses, both of you, with Sergeant Garth here. And don't leave the city. We may need you. That's all for now.
Now the routine begins. Inspector Liggett and Sergeant Porter return to the yard. The orders go out.
Have them run a complete check on Bolton's pals. They'll all have alibis, but run the check anyway.
That was a start. Now the patient waiting, putting together the few facts available. It's the hardest part of police work anywhere.
So, Porter, no prints on that note except yours and mine.
Correct, Inspector.
What have you got on King and the girl?
She's, remarkably respectable.
Nothing remarkable, Sergeant. What about him?
He's a lawyer in the city, rather successful. Good reputation.
Ever cross Bolton's path in his work?
Nope. He's a copyright lawyer. Deals with writers, mostly.
Nothing there, then.
Takes patience. Lots of it. Check and recheck. Wait for information. Wait for the telephone to ring.
Inspector Liggett here.
Detective Ashton, sir. 23rd District.
Go ahead, Ashton.
At 14.5 Haven Mews, sir. We've been watching the place, sir. That King fella lives there.
Yes, I know.
The superintendent's wife has been found, sir, on the cellar steps, strangled. We found the note in her apron pocket. Kilroy was here, it says.
Wait for the telephone to ring. And when it does ring, another death, another note. No solution. Merely complication piled on complication. A short while later, in the basement apartment of the newly widowed janitor.
You found her yourself, Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir. Lying there she was on the cellar steps. I was going down to look at the oil burner.
I see. Now, your wife have any enemies, Mr. Evans?
No, sir, no. Where would the likes of us come in, having enemies? Quarrelsome a little, you might say. But what woman isn't?
Oh, she quarreled with you?
With me, mostly. Not that I could blame her. It's hard work, a place like this, you know. Once in a while with a tenant. Well, the children in 4B, for instance, they write on the walls. So my wife argues with the mother.
Mm-hmm.
The nice young man in 6G lets the bathtub run over. 5G complains. My wife scolds Mr. King.
I see, yes. Now, is Mr. King at home now?
Oh, I believe so, sir.
All right. Thank you. We'll do our best to find whoever killed your wife, Mr. Evans.
Oh, thank you, sir. She had a temper, I know, but she never did no real harm.
Up in the self-service elevator on the 6th floor. Find 6G and ring the bell.
Have it opened, not by Larry King, but by Mabel Martin, far more fully dressed than the last time the inspector saw her.
Well, Miss Martin, collected the insurance yet?
Cut it out, Inspector. I don't have to stand for that sort of thing. In fact, I could ask you for a warrant before I let you in here.
But you won't, will you, Mr. King?
Ask your questions. They're about Mrs. Evans, I assume.
Oh, Larry, please.
Don't worry, darling. Ask your questions, Inspector.
You quarreled with Mrs. Evans?
I did. I wanted my bathtub fixed. The drain was backing up. She told me to go to fix it myself, that's all.
You're sure that was all? Murder seems to have a way of happening in your vicinity, King.
Is that an accusation?
What's all this to do with Matt Bolton?
I don't know. But there is a link. Quite a clear link, Miss Martin. You see, on Mrs. Evans, we found a bit of paper, and on it was scrawled, Kilroy was here. Any ideas on that? Ex-soldier, now Solicitor King?
Solicitor King had nothing to say. His puzzlement, his lack of knowledge seemed honest enough. Inspector Liggett drew no conclusions. He waited. The routine continued. The reports came in.
The Martingale is a new job, same type of club. I've seen the act, Inspector. Same songs, more clothes.
Nothing on Bolton's cronies. Every one of them has an alibi.
Yes. King seems to follow a set routine, Inspector. To the office, back home, dinner, then calls for the girl. Even eats his lunch at the same time every day in the same restaurant.
Nothing much to go on there, just a time of waiting. A week passed. Telephone rang once again.
Inspector Liggett here.
Detective Ashton, sir. We've another one for you.
What?
Yes, sir. A butcher this time. Name of Andrews. 2 blocks from the apartment house where King lives. Head bashed in with his own mallet. Scratched on the chopping block with one of his own knives is the same old message, sir. Kilroy was here.
Kilroy was here. Familiar words with a smile in their words to remember fondly. 3 times they appear. On a butcher's block, on scraps of paper, and today they can be seen in the Black Museum. A third killing, and signed exactly the same way. Kilroy was here. More, this murder had taken place within a few blocks of 14.5 Haven Mews, where Larry King lived. The same young man who was the secret fiancé of the singer, and whose dressing room the first body had been found. The same young man who lived in the house where the janitor's wife had been strangled. Inspector Liggett lost no time reaching the scene of the latest crime.
Well, it's... yes, sir, well,
Ashton.
Yes, sir?
Anything fresh?
Just the things I reported, sir. There's the mallet, the weapon.
Yeah.
The message was scratched with this knife.
Any prints?
So the laboratory crew are trying to raise some. Nothing yet.
Very well. Who's the woman?
The widow.
Mrs. Andrews, I really dislike bothering you with questions at this time, but you understand that speed may be the essence now.
Yes. Yes, of course, Inspector.
I understand that it was you who found your husband.
Yes. I stopped here to get some money for a dress. It'll have to be a black one now.
Did you always come to him for that kind of money?
Well, Jim had his ways. He was considerably older than I am. He seemed just strong when we first married, but, well, later he was... Well, it changed to domineering.
I understand, but now look, just a few more questions, please. Does the phrase on the chopping block mean anything to you?
Kilroy was here? No. No, it's... Well, it's just a... Well, I think I heard it on the radio once or twice.
From the way you described your husband, I'd say he was rather, well, positive in his opinion.
A mild way of putting it. Positive. Domineering, a man who brooked no argument. As the questions went on, the picture became more clear of a large, almost brutish man who covered his deficiencies with bluster and bullying. Finally...
Just one more point, Mrs. Andrews. Did your husband ever argue with his customers? I mean, did he make any enemies among them?
Well, some. Only over little things.
Can you give me a specific instance?
Well, last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was last week. A nice young man said Jim was overcharging him. They had words. The man, his name is Larry King, from the apartment house on Haven Mews, he swore he'd never buy here again.
I see.
Have I helped, Inspector?
You may have. Just a little time will tell, I suspect. Just a little time.
A little time. Within the hour, Larry King was in custody, taken in charge for 24 hours on suspicion of complicity. His fingerprints revealed...
nothing.
His answers to the barrage of questions revealed...
nothing.
Wearily, the inspector and Sergeant Porter returned to the office to face unrelated facts and a no-progress report. Wearily, the inspector picked up the receiver of his office intercom.
Yes, Sergeant?
You have a caller, sir.
Who is it?
Miss Mabel Martin, sir. She insists on speaking with you.
Miss Martin was ushered in, seated in front of the desk.
I've got something to tell you, Inspector.
Please do.
Well, Larry didn't kill anybody.
Didn't he?
No. I did.
Steady, Sergeant. Please take down Miss Martin's statement. Now, I must warn you, Miss Martin, anything you say will be taken down in writing and may be used in evidence.
Yes, I understand.
Now the floodgates opened.
I killed all three of them and left the notes to make it look as though Larry did it.
So simple, so obvious.
Matt Bolton threatened me. He said if I didn't come back to him, he'd change his insurance policies and tell Larry about us. Well, I shot him. It was a .22 that Larry had given me.
One death accounted for. The policeman listened gravely.
Mrs. Evans was always snooping. She threatened to tell Larry about Matt and me. I did it in the cellar, behind the coal pile. I strangled her.
Quite logical. The inspector waited.
Andrews, the butcher, I used to shop there for Larry. Andrews made some advances. He reached for me and I grabbed a meat cleaver and then I scratched the note on the wood. But that's the story, Inspector.
Yes. Tell me, how much do you weigh, Miss Martin?
About 107 pounds. Why, what's that got to do with...
Sergeant Porter, what was the caliber of the bullet found in Matt Bolton?
.38 caliber, sir.
Thank you. And did you notice a coal pile in the cellar at 14.5 Haven Mews?
It's an oil burner, sir. Quite modern.
Thank you. And the weapon in the Andrews case?
A mallet, sir. Not a cleaver. A mallet.
And, Sergeant, can you picture a young woman of 107 pounds knocking out and killing a man of Andrews' size?
Not very well, sir.
Of course, it's obvious her heart and her courage are as large as she is, if not larger, but...
Oh, all right, have your fun. I've made a fool of myself, but Larry didn't kill anyone. I know that. I know it. You can't do this to him.
Look. I wouldn't worry, Miss Martin, if I were you. In fact, if I were you, I'd hurry out to the front of the building. Mr. King is about to be released, and I think you'll want to meet him there, won't you?
Oh, Inspector. Oh, Sergeant,
Oh, forgive me, please.
How about it, Porter? Care to have a girl like that to marry?
Yes, sir. For more reasons than one. Where are we now, sir?
Offhand, Porter, I'd say we were just about where we were when we first heard of the Andrews killing. Put on your thinking cap, Sergeant. This is quite a problem.
They sat there in silence. Their minds sifted fact after fact. And once they'd been through the meager supply of facts on hand, they started over again. At one point, the inspector said, half to himself,
"There's something we're overlooking. Probably quite a simple point. It usually is, but..."
He was quite right. In fact, the inspector was quite appalled, so appalled. He spoke in what amounted to a whisper.
"Sergeant, hand me that telephone directory, please."
What? Oh, yes, sir. Can I help you, sir?
No, thank you. Look, just get your hat, Sergeant.
Get my hat?
Yes, we're going back to 14.5 Haven Mews.
That's King's address.
Yes, and according to the directory, it is also the residence of one Joseph Kilroy, one of the 7 Kilroys listed in the London telephone directory.
Doesn't take long from Scotland Yard to Haven Mews, not when you travel by police car with a siren going. It doesn't take long to race upstairs to a 3rd-floor apartment, ring the doorbell.
Come in, gentlemen. I heard your arrival in the street. What took you so long, gentlemen? Oh, really, now.
Mr. Kilroy, I must warn you, anything you say...
Oh, that's all right, I understand. Don't mind in the least.
Well, I'll be...
Watch him, Sergeant.
I am, sir.
Frankly...
Liggett. Inspector Liggett.
Oh, yes, thank you. Frankly, Inspector, I'm rather annoyed with you. Here I go to all the trouble of killing a man so that nice young fellow in 6G could marry that cute little baggage he's going with. And you arrest him instead of me.
I see. I'm sorry about that, too. So you killed Bolton?
Saw him one night treating the girl really nastily in front of this house.
If I may ask, why the woman?
Oh, she was a nagger. Really annoying. And after I killed one, it struck me I couldn't be hanged more than once. So I might as well do old Evans, too.
Thoughtful of you, Mr. Kilroy.
That butcher was a private matter, though. He kicked a dog once. I saw him. Didn't treat his wife any better. No kids. Figured he'd leave her his money. So I got him with his own mallet. Quite simple, you see.
And you signed your name to each one?
Of course. Good deeds are scarce in this world. Thought I ought to get proper credit each time. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Sergeant! Good work, Sergeant.
He's strong, sir. Stronger than he looks.
Cases like this usually are. Well, we'll need the ambulance. Not the wagon this time, and use the telephone directory, Sergeant. I find them quite useful books, when I remember to use them.
Who'd have thought it, sir? How many of our murderers are considerate enough to sign their killings, sir?
Murderers don't sign their work, do they? Unless, of course, their sense of humor is as twisted as their valuation of human life. This killer did autograph his killings. And today those notes can be seen in the usual place for such things, in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment.
Joe Kilroy was insane, of course, by every normal standard. Insane enough, certainly, to sign his name to 3 murders. And by every normal standard, the gentlemen of Scotland Yard acted correctly within the rules of their profession in tracing every possible motivation, every possible suspect, before they came to the obvious solution. After all, it is logical that when men spend their lives dealing with the deliberately obscured, they can actually fail to notice the openly obvious. Now the notes remain in their usual place, in Scotland Yard in the Black Museum. And until we meet again in this same place for another story about the Black Museum, I remain as always, obediently yours. This is Orson Welles, speaking from London. From the Black Museum, a repository of death. Here in the grim stone structure on the Thames which houses Scotland Yard is a warehouse of homicide, where everyday objects, a piece of carbon paper, a tin ashtray, a broken teacup, all are touched by murder. Now here's a woman's powder puff, faded pink. We'll open the glass case and take it out. There you are, sir. Perhaps Madame would like to take it. Ah, you draw back. The lace is pitiful and torn. Across the puff itself is an ugly stain. Once it was dark red, but its progress through the biological laboratory has left it bleached and pitted, where small areas have been teased out and examined under the microscope.
This sample belongs to blood group 3.
Are you sure?
Wait. Group 1 is here as well. Blood groups 1 and 3. That means there were 2 victims.
Yes, the faded pink powder puff was used to gag 2 victims before they were brutally murdered. That's why it can be seen today in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum.
Well, here we are in the Black Museum. Yes, beyond these stone walls, London throbs and is alive, but within these rooms, there's silence and death. It's very quiet. Come with me. Under the frieze of death masks, the masks of criminals of bygone days, suspended grimly under the ceiling, we pass slowly along the rows of murder exhibits, not always frightening in themselves, but terrifying when considered in relation to their history. There, matchbox. Here's a nail file. Each exhibit marked with the names of the killer and the victim. But our objective now is the powder puff. As it lies on the palm of my hand, let's turn back the clock and meet the man who used it for a grim purpose. His name, Richard William Hyson. The time, dawn on the morning of Friday, October the 18th, 1946. The place, Pentonville Prison.
This is it, is it, boys? Take it easy, Hyson. You've got about a couple of hours. Give me a cigarette. Oh, thanks. You're too kind. Oh, this is 20 days we've had in here, isn't it? Yes, 20 days. You won't forget me, will you? No, we won't forget you. Before I go, you must remind me to compliment the management. The food's been excellent. I can thoroughly recommend it to future guests. I've only one complaint. What's that, Hyson? The execution shed is too close. I'm sure I could hear the hangman practicing with a sandbag last night. Nonsense. Here, have a wash. After I've finished my cigarette. All right. No hurry. No hurry. 2 hours to go. 2 hours in which to reminisce. I think I was right not to see my mother and father.
They wanted to see you.
Well, that's because they remembered me as I was. Big, blonde, and handsome. But they never really knew me. I nearly killed a girl when I was 16.
Did you?
Yes. It was at a kid's party. After playing Postman's Knock, we got tired of that. And I suggested we should play
The popular parlor game of murder. Somebody commits a crime in the dark, and the rest of the party are supposed to discover the culprit. Young Richard Hyson entered into the spirit of the thing with zest.
Jean, you come with me.
All right, Dick.
Let's go upstairs.
What shall we do?
Oh, never mind. I'll tell you. Let's go up while nobody's looking. Come on. Here's a box room. Let's go in.
No, I'd rather not. Let's hide here.
In you come.
No, Dick.
Don't be afraid. It's only a game. I'm putting this handkerchief in your mouth.
Oh, let me go.
Now I'm squeezing your throat. Shut up.
Jean, where are you? Oh, there you are. Why, Dick. But, Jean, what's happened? Oh, he's killed her.
It was fortunate for young Dick Hyson the girl was not dead, but she was hurt and badly frightened. The warders in the death cell listened to Hyson's prelude to murder in silence, but perhaps their eyes betrayed their emotions.
You're shocked, aren't you? Oh, give me the towel, will you? Oh, thank you so much. You make a good Batman. Have you been in the services?
I was in the Navy.
Oh, interesting. That was the only service I was never in. I began in the Air Force.
Yeah, so I believe. Hey, I better start dressing now.
I enlisted as a pilot, a fighter pilot. They gave me a commission, of course.
Of course. Here's your tie.
Yeah, thank you. I had only one complaint about the Air Force.
Yeah? What was that?
The pay. So I volunteered to take over the mess funds. Well, that helped. So did the uniform.
You better put on a clean collar.
Oh, I'm allowed a collar, am I? Oh. That uniform certainly pulled them in.
Pulled who in?
Well, who do you think? Remember the case of the Air Force girl found in the burnt-out car in Suffolk?
So you were responsible for that, were you? How did it happen?
Now you're interested. Listen, boys, come on, gather round. I'll tell you about it before it's too late.
Richard Hyson could never bear to be anything but the center of attraction. He could never tolerate a disinterested audience. Even in his last hours, he had to hold his listeners. But how much of the truth he told will never be known. Nevertheless, a pretty girl of 21 had been found dead in a car close to the station where he'd been, looking after the mess funds 5 or 6 years previously, and he told his warders how he had stopped her on a lonely road while she was driving a staff car.
Hello there. Want a lift?
Oh, that's very nice of you. I'm going into Ipswich.
Oh, so am I. Jump in.
What's your name?
Parker, sir.
And your first name?
Joyce, sir.
I'm Richard Hyson. You can call me Dick and drop the sir.
Yeah, I think I've met you before.
Oh, I've seen you, too. At the commandant.
Yes, it might have been.
Well, it was. I've been thinking about you ever since, Joyce.
Oh, I don't believe a word of it, Mr. Hyson.
Dick. Look out, watch that bend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, never mind, sweetheart. I've got nerves of steel. But I'd be happier if you let me take over.
Yes, perhaps it would be a good idea. Thanks. Oh, don't bother to get out. I'll get out my side. Well, I must say it is nice to be driven for a change.
Good. What are your plans after you drop the car into workshops?
As a matter of fact, I'm feeling rather good today. You see, it's my birthday, and my mum sent me a very nice present this morning.
Well, many happy returns. And how old are you?
21.
Congratulations. She's 21 today. 21. What did they send you?
Money.
Oh, that's always the most sensible gift.
Yes, it is, isn't it? I say, are we on the right road?
Yes, I think so.
We're not, you know. We're right off the road now. Hey, stop. Hey, I thought you were supposed to be a good driver.
So I am. Come here.
No, you've made a mistake. I'm not that sort of a girl. Let me go.
Oh, you would you?
You're mad.
Where's the money?
Well, here, take it. Now let me go, please.
Oh, no.
Please let me go. I promise I won't tell.
Hyson had no intention of giving his unfortunate victim the opportunity to tell. He had exceptionally large, powerful hands, his fingers being an inch across the joints. There is no doubt that poor Joyce Parker was helpless in his grip. And when it was all over, he put her behind the steering wheel, started the car, and set fire to it. When the flames had a hold, he jumped off the running board from where he'd been steering, and the blazing car, together with its pathetic little passenger, plunged on until it crashed over the edge of a gravel pit. The crime had every appearance of being an accident, and Richard Hyson went to the picture alone that night, all expenses paid. He hadn't yet left behind any vital clues, such as might be seen today in the Black Museum. We returned to number 2 death cell in Pentonville Prison.
I was cashiered from the Air Force quite soon, and they found out about the mess accounts. So I joined the Army as Paul Colton.
Yes, we know about that.
I built up a new history for myself, and being a pretty useful type, I got a commission.
That was in the early days of the war.
Yes. I probably wouldn't have got a commission later on. They started going into too much detail.
How long did you keep the Army commission?
About a year. I lost it in the Middle East. That was really rather amusing. I was visiting the mess at HQ when I heard the general talking about selling his car before he was posted to a new command. That gave me an idea. Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
My name's Colton, sir. I'm sorry to hear you're leaving the command. I wonder whether you might be thinking of disposing of that private car of yours.
Do you want to buy it?
Yes, sir.
You'd better have a word with my ADC. Smithers.
Yes, sir?
Mr. Colton here wants to buy the car. Sort it out with him, will you?
Of course, sir.
And Second Lieutenant Colton, alias Hyson, wrote out a check for £100, which was exactly £100 more than he had in the bank.
That check bounced quicker than a golf ball. But I'd sold the old man's car even quicker and spent what I got for it.
So, bang went commission number 2,
Yes, they cashiered me. Which I told them I thought was rather hard on a first offender.
First offender?
Well, in the Army, yes. But instead of coming home, I dropped off the ship in South Africa. I joined the Army there. And believe me, it wasn't long before I got myself posted to England. That meant London for me. And those certainly were the days.
Don, I'd like you to meet Muriel. Donald Smithers, Muriel Gerton.
Oh, hello there. And what are you drinking, Muriel?
Scotch and water, thanks.
Yeah, tough baby, eh? Well, good for you. Hi, Stuart. A very large scotch and a very little water for a pretty girl.
You're quite a son of a gun.
Believe me, ma'am, I've had to be.
What are all those medals on your chest?
Oh, Distinguished Service Order.
And this one, I know. The Distinguished Flying Cross.
Right, baby.
I don't know these two.
Oh, quite a guy. I got it flying with the Free French, and that's the OBE, Order of the British Empire.
My, you're a hero. You must have a drink on me.
Donald Smithers, alias Paul Colton, alias Richard Hyson, had made the first vital mistake, which was to lead him to the scaffold. Needless to say, he was not entitled to any of those decorations. And he had sewn the ribbon of the OBE in the wrong place on his tunic. And, although he was still a captain in the South African Air Force, he was wearing the uniform of a lieutenant colonel. These points were noticed by an observant officer in the Royal Air Force who passed the information on to the security police. A rapid checkup followed, and Hyson was court-martialed and cashiered for the third and last time. Now he lived on women. During one short period, he was engaged to be married to no fewer than 9. And each one financed him to a greater or lesser degree.
And that took quite a bit of staff work, keeping them apart. But there was one I quite liked, Doreen Wilson.
You'd better get on with your breakfast.
Yes, time flies. Doreen was a honey. Somehow I never managed to get her alone for any time. Pass the salt, will you? Thank you. I shouldn't have bought her that powder puff.
You made a mistake there, Hyson. They all do.
What do you mean, they? I'm unique. Remember that. The night I gave her the puff, we had a row. She wouldn't come back to the hotel with me, so I snatched back the powder puff while she was using it and walked out on her.
So Doreen Wilson was saved.
I was pretty annoyed. I never did take to a brush-off. So I hung around outside the club where I'd met Muriel Girton, and I didn't have long to wait. Muriel?
Who's that? Why, Donald Smithers.
Hello, honey. Come and have a drink.
Okay, let's go up to the club.
Well, I haven't any money till the morning.
That's all right. I've got plenty.
Have you? I don't believe it.
Then look at this.
A handbag opens, stuffed with notes. The fate of Muriel Girton is sealed.
Look, sweetheart, I'm not the type of man who takes money from a pretty girl. Not even from you. If you'll come back to my hotel, we can get all we want on my bill.
So back to the hotel in South Kensington. And at the last moment, Hyson stopped abruptly, as if struck by a sudden idea.
We'll have to go gently, honey. I just remembered. They won't serve drinks to visitors after hours. We'll have to go in the back way, where we won't be spotted.
So in they went. Not into the hotel where Hyson was staying, but into another one where he had stayed sometime previously. Hyson knew the geography of the place perfectly. He took his unsuspecting victim through the deserted trade entrance and up the servants' staircase to the first floor, where he found an unoccupied bedroom.
Okay, in you come.
Thanks. Donald, are you sure this is your room?
Of course, why?
It looks so empty. No clothes, nothing on the dressing table.
Well, I'm naturally a tidy person. Now, come and sit down.
This was an invitation to a drink.
No, there are better things to do than drink. Come on, sit down.
Now, look here. I may be tough, but I'm not...
Sit down.
Why, you beast! I'll scream!
There's a present for you. Powder puff in your mouth. That'll keep you quiet. Now, my beauty, I've got you exactly where I want you.
Again, those big, strong hands did their dreadful work. And when it was all over, Hyson removed the improvised gag from his victim's mouth, took her money, and returned unseen to his own hotel, where the chambermaid awoke him from a sound sleep at 8 o'clock the following morning.
Morning, sir. Not a very cheerful one, I'm afraid. I'll pull back the curtains. Oh, it's pouring outside, and nasty and cold. Now drink your tea while it's hot. And here's your newspapers.
Huh? Oh, Oh, the papers, yes. Oh, thanks. Thanks very much.
Not at all.
Papers. Now, let me see.
Woman found strangled in small hotel. Murder in South Kensington. Police are making widespread inquiries amongst the deceased friends and acquaintances in the hope of tracking down the murderer. The staff and members of a well-known Kensington club are being questioned this morning.
They are they? Then the chances are that the swine who split on me to the South African War Department is going to open his mouth again. He'll remember I was with her. I must get out of London, quick.
It so happened that Hyson's panic was needless. The RAF officer was posted now, and he didn't come forward. Neither did the man who had introduced Hyson to his victim. But the scientists at Scotland Yard were becoming interested in traces of pink wool, which they found in the dead woman's mouth.
There's no doubt we've got particles of face powder on this fragment, so the murderer must have gagged her with a powder puff of all things.
But her own powder puff, which is white, was still in her handbag. That means the puff which was used by the murderer was taken away by him.
The fibers are quite new. There's no dust on them, and the powder hasn't had time to get into the material. Ah, there's a thread of lace here, too.
We'd better let the superintendent know right away.
Superintendent Brandruth of Scotland Yard was then faced with the tremendous task of trying to trace an unknown man who might have bought a pink powder puff with lace trimmings. The information and the request for assistance was published in newspapers throughout the country, and Hyson read about it in the seaside town of Eastbourne. For the first time in his life, Richard Hyson panicked. In a split second, he saw the net closing in. He reasoned that Doreen Wimpson, the girl he'd bought the powder puff for, would very soon tell the police. If he was caught, he must plead insanity. To establish insanity, he must commit another murder. And this time, there must be no motive. So that night, in a deserted street on the outskirts of the town, he waited for an unknown victim. It was dark. The few houses were scattered well back from the road. For nearly an hour, nothing stirred, while murder waited to strike in the shadows. Go back, little girl, go back, go back. No, she must come on. He's waiting with those big, strong hands, tense and ready. The powder puff becomes a gag for the second time. The deed is done.
I might have got away with a lot if Doreen Wimpson hadn't remembered the powder puff.
She identified it, didn't she?
Yes. I knew she'd get me.
The chaplain's here, Hyson.
Tell him to go to blazes. I'll be waiting for him. Got another cigarette? No, thanks. I was picked up by the police the next day. Even then, I nearly convinced them that they'd got the wrong man. They held me from 3 in the afternoon until 2 the next morning before I told them I was Richard Hyson and proud of it. But still, they couldn't really prove I'd killed the 2 women until they had my coat pocket examined in the laboratory. Then they found traces of face powder and little shreds from the puff in it. Tough, that. Tough, wasn't it, Padre, eh? Why, what are you looking so mournful about? I'm the one to worry. Ah, so the hangman's here at last.
Yes, Hyson. It's nearly over.
Well, if nobody's going to say anything, I will.
Come on, boys, get the straps on and let's get going.
And so Richard Hyson is led to his appointed place on the trapdoors of the scaffold. A white bag is slipped over his head. The rope lodges under his chin. And while the chaplain intones the service of the dead, the trapdoors open and Hyson goes fluttering down into the dark cavity below. Justice has been achieved. And all because of the faded pink powder puff which can be seen now in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment.
Hyson loved the limelight, and he was nothing if not bold. He did serve in the Army and the Air Force, but his decorations and his tales of gallantry and action were all lies. He lived on lies, forever hoping that they would never catch up with him. But one by one, they did. And with them came the evidence, from the bad check he gave to the general in the Middle East to the pink powder puff he gave to the one girl he admired in London. He hoped, of course, that the world would believe him to be insane. That would have spared him the final horror of the scaffold, and he might have been alive today in the grim fastnesses of Broadmoor, the criminal asylum. Was he mad? Well, you've heard the story. So another chapter of murder is closed, and the little pink powder puff, faded now, has its place in criminal history. And now, until we meet next time in the same place, I tell you another story about the Black Museum. I remain, as always, obediently yours.